whatever I tried to type. You'll figure it out, guys. Anyway, hey, Beards and Boogers, man. Here we
Beards
are.
and Boogers.
You know, that show is only going to be a couple every 2 or 3 weeks. How about twice in 1 week this week? But anyway, good evening.
Good evening.
We found another beard tonight.
We got another beard. We got
King Beard there.
Me beard.
That's King Beard.
I'm trying to catch him, but I got a little way to go yet.
I'm just proud. I'm just proud Blake got him one.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. We're going to do a weekly growth factor on this guy right here. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at that. He's got it going.
Oh, shit. Shoot. I see pictures. I've been watching old shows, and I see ones of Greg with no beard, and I'm like, oh, he looks like a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Those 3 or 4 episodes you did with Mark and
Greg, why do you have no gray in your beard? What do you do?
Color.
If I pull it real tight, I got 2 gray stripes right here.
I know. I do like that. But
I try to yank mine out when I see them.
Yeah, I still have gray. White.
Mine will be like the deck stripes on the hood of a '69 Camaro.
Yeah. Mine's just gray. It don't matter.
It's just accenting.
Yes. You know, the weird thing though is I've got a picture from around 1880, late 1870s, 1880s. It'll be my either second or third great grandfather. He's at a lumber camp, and all the men are lined up holding axes and stuff. He's knelt down or squatted down in the picture, and then he looks like he's probably in his 60s, and his beard's a little longer than mine. But in that photo, it's black and white, but his beard has got 2 gray stripes in it, just like mine's got.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
That is.
Good deal. Good evening, chat. Chat's starting to wind up here a little bit. That's cool. Good deal.
Yeah.
How's Brother Blackie up there?
I'm fantastic. How are you? It's been a great day. Can't complain.
That's great. We already checked in with the scrambled egg.
You know I'm good.
House is good. House is ready to tell all kinds of crazy stories. And
I don't even know what our topic is.
And we got the milkman. Or the busted egg, whatever you want to say. But anyway.
The busted egg.
What a day. Whew. But anyway. Yeah, it just hit me this morning. I was talking to couple of these guys in chat, and it's like, you know what? Why don't we just go ahead and do a show tonight? Because 2 of my other shows got canceled this week, so why not?
Yeah, your money shows.
Well, the one thing I'll tell you guys something here with these shows. You don't make any money doing these live shows, trust me.
You got
monetized or not, but when you're monetized, you still have to watch your step, because if you do something they don't like, guess what happens to the rest of your channel? What really makes the money is going to be gone, so to speak. But,
what happened with your tractor guys?
Who knows? I told you it'd be last minute, but they never contacted me. What did you say, Greg?
I said the thing about doing the show like this is the most agonizing, excruciating way to make 50 cents in you'll ever do.
Yep, you're right, but it's fun. It's fun to spend time with.
Well, you know, the fact that none of us. Well, I live 5 hours from Greg, probably 400 hours from David, from you guys 8 hours. So it's nice to be able to, and with the chat too. That's what's fun.
Yeah, I know.
Jerry, I've come up with a plan for you to make all kind of money.
Oh boy.
You know, they do them OnlyFans pages. What you could do is just like blanket give everybody a subscription and let Jeff do an OnlyFans, and you charge them to cut them off. They can't
That's a brilliant idea, man. Perfect. Idea. There you go. Smashing eggs. We'll call it smashing eggs.
Yes.
And every dollar somebody donates, Jeff has to do a shot of bourbon.
Yeah.
So
He doesn't
like,
need any influence. He doesn't need any influence. Trust me.
Hey, look, I would pay if my computer was streaming and I couldn't turn it off and it was Yarrington and a Speedo out there milking cows. Look, I'd put my info open in a heartbeat.
Oh
Wow.
man.
Hey, I figured, but DA and I could do a collaboration. We could just charge people to pay us not to do it.
Pay him not to do it.
Yeah, if that stuff
Poor
was
DA.
streaming on my TV and I couldn't shut it down, I'd be like, please turn it off.
I mean, between a fat dairy farmer and a ex-cop, we'd probably be able to make some money.
No doubt.
He said he was going to try to be lurking in here tonight.
Oh, he usually stops in for a minute. Yep.
Yeah.
And he's just come in here and shoot the shit.
He's
Absolutely.
working on doing some writing.
I forgot.
Greg and I were
Practice
talking
what you preach.
earlier. Robbie really did a good job on that one he wrote the other night that DA was reading.
Yeah.
Robbie's going to try his hand at writing now.
I like Robbie. Robbie's DA too. But Robbie's awesome.
Careful, Blackie. Careful, Blackie.
Hey, no, I watch the show all the time.
Yeah,
I'll tell you who's another good one is Eric Testerman.
I don't think I've seen that.
Dave or Greg
I know
knows
who
what
he
I'm
is.
talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hate to bring up downer stuff, but I've seen Harley had a couple of attacks today, and
Yeah, well, that's kind of a slippery slope there because a certain someone,
yeah,
and I didn't talk to Greg about that, but I'll
Yeah.
send him a message later, is dragging a bunch of us into the
it's okay.
stuff.
Look,
with,
We know better.
I'll just
You know
step out on the limb right here and just go ahead and say that I don't know why people want to get their feelings hurt and keep stuff stirred up. And it's almost like we've warped back to 1985 and it's WWE. We got to have something started week by week.
Yep.
It's got to be drama. It's almost like Days of Our Lives and in pro wrestling. We got to have this group against that group, and then next week that group against this group, and the ones that was at each other's throat, they all buddy again. I don't care nothing about all that mess.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I don't.
It's,
If that's what it takes to get followers, I don't want. I'm good.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. You took the words right out of my
wrote
mouth.
drama out of my life a long time ago. Drama's not worth anything.
No,
best
I
thing
went
you
back
can
and
do
looked
is
at that
ignore
again to share it around some, and it was deleted, I think.
You got to ignore it. You just got to learn to ignore it. I posted one thing today. I normally don't, but I know
did too.
I know the problem child. I watched 5 minutes of a show and I didn't care for it, and I left. And I don't care if he wants to crack me all he wants. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not here to please anybody. We're here to learn. But
it wasn't him. There was somebody else stirring it up too. And that's
yes, exactly correct. But he bit.
Yeah.
That's the
And
problem.
he's not-
You got to ignore that shit, man.
Yeah.
Got to go.
I don't know why people like to antagonize stuff. It's just
Don't attack don't attack anybody about anything.
well, don't drag other people into it without them knowing, and then next thing you know, they're having to deal with it. So
That's right.
Well, the thing about it, guys, everybody wants to have an opinion about these things, and most of the people that get so hot-headed about it have never even had a damn experience.
Yep.
And then people like me that's been dealing with them for 25 years, and all I know to tell people is I still don't know shit. And if you want to run around and be the foremost expert and everybody bow to you, have at it.
Yep.
I don't. My deal, I guess, is I don't have to. I'm in a place where I don't have to take other people's opinions or this or that. I mean, I love to hear people's experiences, but there's nobody got to sway me to believe they're real. There's nobody got to tell me anything that they do or don't do. I've seen plenty. I've seen enough for 1,000 people. I mean, I've lived this shit for 25 years.
Mhm.
And look, I've had them where they didn't do hardly nothing, that they would let me know they were there. They come up, they bump on my wall, they follow me out of the woods. And I've had the ones that was belligerent, and I thought, I'm not going to live. I'm about to die. And I've had the full spectrum of this bullshit for a very long time. So I don't have to have somebody, and I don't have to take somebody's word on it. So I guess I'm in just a whole different mindset with it. And the only thing that really gets me is when there are people that I know that they're full of shit. I don't call them out. They want to spend that, people believe them, that's fine.
Absolutely.
But I'm not here to even sway anybody one way or the other. All I do is tell people what I've lived through and what I've seen and witnessed. They believe me, fine. If they don't, fine.
I'm more
But
prone to sit here and listen to somebody like you. Okay, I'll draw my own conclusions about anybody I watch. Okay, Kumbo obviously
Yeah.
is more out there. More of I won't say a celebrity of the subject, but he's more well known. But I'm more subject to listen to somebody like yourself or a Mark Green. That's more quieter, more because you don't have nothing to prove. You're not out here to prove
No.
anything. You're not a researcher. You don't claim to be a researcher. Those are the people I'm going to listen to because I know I've already drawn my conclusions about the people that I watch. That's why I watch them.
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna,
mean, I never went looking for these things. These damn things
Yeah.
fell in my life.
And
I
that's
was
what they
I was
do. That's how it happens.
I was perfectly fine before I even knew anything about them.
Yeah.
And actually, my life was a whole lot easier because I used to be the guy that it didn't bother me to go to the woods by myself at midnight. I'd stalk 2 or 3 miles through the woods.
Yep.
Not no more. I mean, I watch where I go and how I go, and I know a way out or a couple of ways out, and I'm always thinking a long time before I get myself in a bind because I've been in them binds, and it's a
That's
bad
right.
way. Uh, I don't
Sounds
know,
like you
y'all.
got a
It's
quote from the dog too.
and
Yeah,
I'm,
I agree
I'm,
100%.
I'm here because I've never had an experience. Again, every time I'm on here, say that, but I want to hear everybody else's because again, these experiences to me are amazing that you guys have all seen or heard. And that to me is like, that's enough for me because I've gotten to really know a lot of you guys and I don't ever think of you as like making stories up when the same stories are told over and over and over. And there's nobody messing up the story that they told the last time or the experience they had the last time. So that's why I'm here. I love this. You guys have become my friends because I love what you've experienced and I want to hear about that. And that's what makes me interested in all of this. And
Just don't wish for it. Don't wish for it. It ain't worth wishing
I'll
for.
probably wish for it until it happens. And then when it happens, I'll be like, oh my God, you guys warned me. And that's all I can say.
It's from a distance.
Yeah.
I got a good question here, Greg. Good question here for you from audio. Can you see that on the screen?
what I was going to ask you if you could pop that question up.
Yep.
And I'll just tell you this: this is me and Coonbo, Jimmy Osmer, and Troy Allen talking. We've talked about this a bunch of times. I wish Coonbo had never brought up anything about the shofar. He wishes he had never brought up the thing about the shofar and released it publicly. There's certain things about the shofar that he kind of put together that you can't just go get a ram's horn and go out there and toot it because it's a shofar. There's supposedly there's certain things that has to be done with the shofar and to the shofar to actually have it like biblically ready to make a certain sound. And Coonbo's has had that. I mean, it was certain, and I know what it is, and I'm not going to say it, but
Certain
was
things
a
have to be done.
there was certain steps that you had to go through with this shofar for it to be an authentic voice of God. And y'all, I went out with Coonbo. I've been boogering with him a bunch. And the first time I ever saw him break the shofar out, I'm like, okay. Well, I tell people he starts off sometimes. It's kind of like a hair lip bugler. It makes a horrible sound, and it's horrible. I mean, it's terrible. But look, he'd try to blow this thing, and he'd blow on it till his cheeks turned purple, and then he'd wet his lips, and he'd angle it, and he'd blow. And he's sitting there, and it's horrendous. It's just, and and we're going. I'm thinking, what in the hell is this supposed to do? And then it's like the stars align. He's got the right breath. His lips are right, and this thing goes from making this most god awful, horrible, terrible bugle sound into it reminds me of when I was a kid. I'm 50, but when I was a kid, or a little older kid, the Thundercats, where when the light would shine, all of them's eyes would perk up, and they'd look in the sky.
Mhm.
Everybody around, when that shofar hits that note, it's like you feel it. Look, I didn't know what a damn shofar is supposed to sound like, but I know when he hit that note, that's what the hell it's supposed to sound like. Because it was just unreal. It was like, how you see the old movies where it had the gladiators and stuff, and they'd be blowing the big horns, and it like, announcing that they were coming out.
Mhm.
It would go from, like I said, a hair lip bugler into something like those trumpets sounding, where it's just like an opera playing or something, and it's just crazy. But when it would hit that note, it was like everything around you gets quiet, and you feel it, and he'd hold that note, and y'all, when he would hit that, I mean, he's been playing with this thing for like 20 minutes, and we ain't heard jack. The down frogs are chirping, the crickets are going, mosquitoes is buzzing, and he hits that note, and it's like you've stomped a mute button big as the hood of a car. Just blip, everything around got silent. And off in the distance, you hear a roar or a scream answer you. I mean, it's just like just as soon as that shofar quit and the echo quit, you get a reply. Sometimes it'd be way off, sometimes it ain't way off. But I'll tell you this, they don't just come in like, hey, did you call me? No. Sometimes it is, but more times it ain't. I mean, it's like you've just sandpapered their butthole and poured alcohol on it. It's bad. They come in and they are upset. And the time when we done it on the river down there, right up here in North Alabama, just out of Decatur, Wheeler Wildlife Refuge, he blew that damn thing. And y'all, that booger wasn't happy at all. It wasn't happy none. And that booger was coming, and he was coming hard. And every couple of 100 yards, he was answering, I mean, like screaming back, like, hey, I'm coming. And y'all, I wouldn't doubt when he first answered us, he was 3/4 of a mile. He was a long way. And it wasn't taking him long to make that long way a short way. And that's when Coonbow, that thing got out there within probably 350 yards. And Coonbow looked at me and Jimmy and Al and said, boys, we need to go. Well, they didn't nobody say, no, man, we're good. No, let's just wait. Hell to the everybody down standing on the ground, his ass went in the truck. And boys, we come out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry. And that's when it just was coming out of that little area. We met that other old Dodge truck.
Yeah.
We blowed by him.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the story that I love.
Yeah, I don't know what that boy was saying after we left, but I'm telling y'all, it was like Dukes of Hazzard when he come out of there.
Well, what did he try? Wasn't there a bunch of logs or something you guys had to go over?
Yeah, I had my truck in low lock 4-wheel drive and crawled over them, and these logs was about the diameter of a 5-gallon bucket. When I would go over them, and you couldn't hit them straight, you'd have to angle and hit them, let one tire go up and then the other. And if they'd been any bigger, we couldn't have got over. But Coonbow got over them with that Chevrolet his, and I come over them with my Dodge, and we pulled over. And we was going to take a chain because, hell, we were a quarter or half a mile away from the old boat launch. We was like, well, we'll just jerk them out of the way right quick. I wasn't really keen on it, but Coonbow, good Samaritan, Let's do that. Thank God we pulled off in the grass. We hadn't been out of the truck 60 seconds. And you hear this diesel engine on that Dodge, and it sounds like it's about to come apart. That dude had it nailed. He come around that last curve, and it was about 50 yards to them logs. That boy never backed out of the throttle. I bet he was running over 30 mile an hour when he hit that first tree. He hit it so hard, the truck went all the way up in the air. Just stepped under it, reached up, and took the oil plug out. This whole truck was over 6 feet in the air, and I was waiting on the damn Dixie horn to play. That thing down and hit, and it bounced twice, probably waist high, and was bouncing side to side. And the dude never let off the throttle. He had it on the floor the whole time through the air and everything. And when he got it straightened up, he didn't wreck, I don't know. But when it straightened up, that dude, I bet he hit 60 mile an hour down that straightaway, leaving on gravel. And he didn't check up when he left. And I looked at Tim, I said, I'm not much on moving them logs, brother. He said, well, I think we'll leave them. And we got back in the damn truck and left.
Yeah.
But yeah, they was 3 trees. There was 2 laying about 12 inches apart. And then it was about 3 or 4 feet to one by itself. So it was 3 logs, and they were all identical size, just about like if you laid a 5-gallon bucket down on the ground. But y'all, the deal with the shofar, what worries us about it, and I say us, me, Jimmy Osmer, and Coombo, definitely. I'm afraid some moron could that thing get in the wrong hands, and they get out there and somebody come up gone, tore apart. Because here's the deal, we don't know what it's telling them.
Right.
And the odd thing is sometimes they're not bad, and sometimes they're ready to tear something apart.
It's like, is it
I
a
wish-
call to fight? Could be a call to fight,
I mean,
call to war.
that's
You know,
the reason I try to caution people about going and calling these things. I don't recommend it unless you go with somebody that's got a little bit of experience. And a damn sure, look, as much as I've watched Coonbo and them do it and been out with these other guys doing it, because I don't do it here. I don't call nothing here. Never. You'll never hear me do any kind of calling or provoking here, because I've been through that, them being belligerent and upset. I don't know. And look, I accidentally made peace with them. I damn sure don't want to accidentally piss them off again.
right?
Yeah.
But I've been out a bunch of times with them boys. I've been blessed to get in that group, the tight knit group with Coonbo, and go boogering. And we'd go all over the place in the middle of nowhere, and he'd call these things up, and I watched him do it a bunch of times. Could I call him? I doubt it. I mean, because I can't really make the sound he does. He's done it so much, he's really good at it. And, there's a lot of the calls that you'll never know unless you get invited to go out with Coonbo, even if it's a group like at the LBL. He carries a bunch out, and it's, say, 8 or 10 people that he kind of knows or whatever, just met. You're not going to hear a lot of the calls that them boys use.
Yeah.
You have to be kind of in the inner circle to be witnessing what goes on. And that's for a reason, because if people really knew how to call them up, y'all, I'm telling you, it can go bad fast. I've been there. It's not a fun time. People want experiences, and that's great. But you don't know what experience you're calling up. You don't know what you're telling these things. You don't know what kind of things in. You don't know how mad it's been. I mean, it's roll the dice. And my main thing that I try to tell people, because I know y'all know people just like I do, they'll go somewhere just hoping to have an encounter, hoping to have the sighting where it's super exciting, or hear tree knocks or whatever. And these people will throw caution and, to me, common sense to the wind. I'm not telling people don't go camping, don't go hiking, but please think about something before you go off in the woods. If you hike yourself off in there an hour from a 3-hour hike from a vehicle, you're off over and you're camping, you may be fine. Yeah, odds are you're going to be dandy. You may have an encounter because they're coming up to see what you're doing. But if you're off over there and you're physically, let's just say you're a 30-minute hike. Well, that's 15 minutes hauling ass, running scared. Well, what are you going to do if you call these things and provoke them and you absolutely piss them off, and you're an hour away from your vehicle to get out of there. That's not a wise plan, in my opinion. Everybody's got their own opinion, and I can't help it if they get pulled limb from limb. But please just think about what you're doing. I mean, that'd be like Yarrington putting out hay. He may have an old bull in there that if he stays close to the tractor, Jeff knows that, well, if he comes over here, I can jump back on the tractor. But I bet you old Jeff ain't going to walk 300 yards out there in that pasture and unstring a roll of hay and just hope like hell he can get his big ass back to the tractor.
Been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the
I
reason
mean,
why we don't have bulls.
Right.
but, and you know, Jeff, all right, here's the deal. How do I think they're waiting for judgment? Brother, that's a very good question. And if I told you an answer, I'd have to make it up, and I ain't gonna do that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that they are waiting for judgment. They may be. We've talked about that, but it's all theory. It's all just like this, but a private group talking and us just bouncing ideas off
Yeah.
each other. I don't know. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it could be
But
a call for them to go to war. You don't know.
it could be 100%. It could be. It could be telling them to come there and us to, or for the voice of God for them to receive instructions. I don't know. And Gary, yes sir, that's exactly right.
Yep.
That is the horn that brought the walls of Jericho down. And there's power in sound, there's power in words. I don't know. To me, it's absolutely like playing with some type of explosive and you don't know what you're doing. I don't. I'll just be honest with you. I've been on Coonbo for a while. I've told him, I said, look, if your son, one of these days when you're dead and gone, and we have to plant you out there in the field, I said, if your boy don't want your shofar horn, I want it because I'm gonna mount it on my wall and I'm gonna run big lag screws through it. That way, I know some idiot won't get out there and get killed or hurt.
That's right. It ain't leaving your wall.
Mm-mm.
I know you and I have talked about that several times, Greg, about that thing.
I wouldn't blow that damn thing right here at my place for $5,000. Ain't not no. Even though if I couldn't even blow it right, I wouldn't even risk a chance of it. And I'll tell you this: anybody that don't believe what I'm telling them, they're more than welcome to ask Jimmy Osmer, ask Alan White, all them other guys that's witnessed it. Troy Allen tell you the exact same thing I just told y'all. We've been there, we've witnessed it, and it spooks the shit out of me. I'd rather him not even
Troy's
bring.
one of the most well-versed guys in this, so if he says
He's not used that shofar in a while, and I just assumed he didn't never blow it again.
So, what made Coonbo blow the shofar? What made anybody blow the shofar? Was it just to see what would happen, or
A guy that we know that lives in Kentucky started putting stuff together to come up with a theory that he had done a lot of biblical research, and that was supposed to be the voice of God. That the kind of the tone of that.
okay?
And it was answering, kind of just like one question fed another, and this question fed that question, and it was kind of a what if type deal.
Or I dare you to, or I dare you to blow it.
Kind of. And then it was like, well, this is, if this could call these things, would they answer this note? Would they answer this call? And it went into, I'm talking about, it went into Coonbo going and meeting with rabbis and everything else. And he finally wound up with a rabbi that talked to him kind of like a black market talk, hey, look, I ain't supposed to tell you this, but blah, blah, blah. And it took him a while to get the guy to talk. And it was certain things that had to be done that nobody wanted to talk about. And Coonbo finally got everything done. And look, whether that had a bearing on it, I don't know. But all I can tell you is that damn thing works.
yeah.
And I really, for me, I don't care about being around with it being used.
I'll be right back I don't know what the hell that was, but I'll be right back.
Oh boy.
Take a recorder.
I'll be right
So,
back.
Greg,
The third one, the parabolic.
is the shofar that's biblical? Is that in the Bible?
I don't know. I guess it is. I had never studied on it.
I don't know that much. I'm just learning. So I was just curious. Somebody said you said the voice of God. So I was just curious if what
Yeah.
would make that's what baffles me that somebody would say, well, let's try this. Maybe they did it to see if it would be a good thing or a bad thing. Obviously, we're not going to really know unless somebody's
Mhm.
Yeah, and I won't call his name. I won't call his name, but I know the guy. I mean, I've been around him a few times, and he's come to some outings, and I hadn't seen him in a while, but I've sat and eat supper with this guy a few times, and we'd be up there on outings. Really smart, really intelligent guy that come up with this, and Kumbo, he told me straight up that that guy's the one that come up with the idea. That he was the first person that and he approached Kumbo with it. Just, hey, I wonder what if, what do you think about this? And then it just kind of went from there, and Kumbo got interested, and he thought the guy had a really good idea. It was just a trial run, and he started researching and researching and researching, and all that didn't happen. We ain't talking about like, one weekend. We talking about a few years of trying to put all this together.
Okay.
And then the word gets out, and people brought it up, and this and that, and then now it's like it's kind of like I'm not gonna say it's super mainstream, but everybody's got questions about it. But I'm telling you, brother, those of us that's witnessed it, I don't want no part of it.
Hey,
Now,
Greg.
that ain't saying if we go back out and Kumbo says, well, let's break it out, that I'm going to just jump in the truck and leave. I'm just going to say my part of us is going to be uncomfortable.
My 357 is going to be in my hand.
Yeah.
Hey,
So, Greg, have you heard of anybody blowing a trumpet?
David, I've never seen it done. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure people's done about anything you can think of.
Yeah.
Greg, I will have to say you got a good point about not doing that shit in the middle of the woods, because my friends and I like to do at least once a year, every year. If we don't do every year, we do every other year. 2 or 3 miles off trail into the mountains,
Yeah.
and you do not want to be calling anything in on you when you are that far from the truck.
No.
Because I mean, even if you were there in the daytime, you trying to run out of there if something's going on, you ain't getting anywhere. You're better off. You're better off building a fire and sitting there.
Just sit there and act like you're just oblivious, that all you're doing is having a good time. Don't scream, don't yell. Just be a normal person or normal people camping. And odds are these things are going to come around. They may even not even let you know they're there.
And that's how I found the trackway last year. That's also how that thing snored across the trail from me while I was in the booger taco.
Yeah.
Greg probably have claustrophobia and a heart attack if he had to sleep one of them things.
No, believe it or not, Jeff, back when I was a kid, we used to go to South Alabama, and we had the sure enough, like leftover Vietnam era jungle hammocks, and they were all right, but
I love them. They're great.
That was long before I knew Bigfoot was real. I don't want to be a chimichanga ready to tote off.
Well, I've slept in those. I slept in those things back before I even got it. I mean, I knew stuff like that was real, but I had that encounter this year with the tracks and the mimics, and well, technically last year, but I had whatever that thing was in West Virginia a couple years back that scared me so bad I backed out of there with the safety off the 12 gauge and my 38 unstrapped.
Yeah, I don't, Robbie. I don't care
Yeah.
nothing about doing
Right, Robbie.
that worries. And I'm not telling anybody to not do it. That's I'm saying be very cautious because you are putting yourself in a bad place. It could go south really fast. Oh, I mean, it just y'all. I mean, I'm the guy that's had these things cut them off from getting back to the truck.
Yeah.
That's when shit gets real.
Yeah.
When you realize that your means of transportation to get the hell out of Dodge, you can't get to it. Yeah, it'll make you do some soul searching. Um, it's wild. I mean,
I mean,
I
Greg,
get
I wasn't even really doing things except working on that deer stand. And I got screamed at 40 yards. So
yeah.
I mean, it started out 100, and I mean the distance that thing could close. I just
Jeff, and there again, I got it. I've seen things that people would pay a lot of money to see, and I was lucky enough to be right place, right time. And there's no way that I can put it into words and describe it adequately for anybody to get a visual or a mental image of what I've seen these things do. There's nothing should be able to move like they move, how they move, and as fast as they move. And they can do it making all kind of racket, or they can do it and be silent as no sound. I mean, nothing. You won't hear nothing. And it's just like it's just like they're just there. Uh, just like the one I saw, come out of the woods. It stepped out, and I was looking at its left side, left profile. And when I first saw it, I was pissed because I was having to work that day, and it was the 29th of January, and the 31st of January was the last day of deer season. And I'm like, crap, and it kind of pissed me off because it's like 11:30. It was actually spot on 11:30 in broad daylight. At the end of that straightaway, a little over 300 yards, I see this, what I thought was a man step out. And this thing stepped out probably 8 feet from the tree line. I just seen it step out, seen an upright figure just move out and stop. Well, it was in the shade of these pine trees, so it was just a dark upright figure. And where it stepped out, it was nearly into the light, but I'm just seeing this solid black outline, or not outline, but a figure. And the thing went from sideways, it turned and faced me. Well, when it turned and faced me, I see it just like compress. It's like its arms bowed out to the side. Its knees didn't just bend forward. It's like its knees bowed out, and its arms like flew out, and it just goes. It just looked like you mashed it, just like squished a Coke can about halfway down. And when it done that, of course, it swelled out. And all this stuff is trying to process at the speed of sound in my brain. And it's like it done that, and it was looking at me, and it's like it's almost like it had, oh shit, I'm caught. And I see it, it turned and it compresses and it starts back up and it steps back to the way it come in, it come in like it's gonna run back in the woods. And what it done is like one leg stepped, like it reached out with that one foot, and its stance widened really wide. And it's like it still stayed low. Well, it kind of come up and then went right back out because the leg up and out. So it kind of like rises and falls, its head does. And it's like it's spread out way real wide. And it's like, oh hell, I can make it. And I watch this thing whirl. It spread out and it whirls back toward the road. And I swear to y'all, it was like watching, you know, Colonel Steve Austin, the Bionic Man, because this thing, it pivots. It pulls that leg toward the wood line back up and it turns. And I watch this thing leap from standing dead still. It's like one leg come up and this thing just, and it went over 20 feet horizontal from down here where it's at to the road surface is about a 5-foot elevation. And that's what I tell people. I said, think of just a normal everyday automobile, just a car, just a normal 4-door car. The top the roof of the car is going to be about 5 foot off the ground, give or take. Back up, say 22, we'll just say 20 feet. Put that thing in Walmart parking lot. Next time you get out of your car, take and walk 7 long steps, 3 foot per step, 7 long steps. That'll be 21 feet. Turn back around and look at the roof of that car and tell me how many people that you've ever seen or ever heard of could be standing dead still, jump, one leap, land on top of that car on your feet and be running. As soon as your foot hit the top of that roof of that car, you're running 3 times faster than an Olympic sprinter. And that's what I witnessed. That's what I saw. Now, that should not even be feasible. Because when we went back and measured where I watched this thing run by the guy wire, and there was a privet hedge bushed out. That privet hedge was like 10'4", 10'5", somewhere in there. It was a little over 10 foot. And when I saw that thing run by that privet hedge, and see, I was in a truck running about 40 mile an hour going to it. So I mean, I'm going at it, and I'm getting closer. And the
That
closest
was in
I
a
ever got,
propane truck, right?
yeah, I was in a propane truck, bobtail hauling. I had 2,200 gallon tank, and believe it or not, I was nearly out of gas because I went and worked at chicken farm. But the closest I got was probably 100 yards, and maybe a little bit over. But y'all, this thing strided across that road, and it was the textbook. The legs looked like they were moving just so fast. It was crazy. But the body wasn't going like this. It was just like sliding. It just like it was like a skater or skier. And when it got across the road, there's another ditch on the other side. And that thing, it leapt across probably a 12, 15 foot gap. And the other side from the asphalt to the top of the ditch over there was about a 2 foot rise. That thing's stride looked like it got just a little bit longer to stride over all that. It didn't like leap. It was just like the stride just got a little bigger. In the head, it didn't really go up very much. It just like it kept going, just even and straight. But where it ran by that privet edge, and it was on my side of the privet edge, so the privet edge was just behind it, maybe 10 feet. That thing liked about that much, being as tall as that privet edge. So had to be 8.5 feet tall. And by judging that, because I had something to measure it by, this thing had to be at least 4 feet, shoulder to shoulder width, shoulder to shoulder, 4 feet. And I've always said from its sternum to its spine, you know, we're talking this thing it would be more than twice as thick as me. It had to be at least 2 feet or thicker through the chest. Y'all, this damn thing's arms. Its arms and its bicep was big as my torso. I mean, they were like that big. And that's the way the thigh, the black trash cans, like in your house, the big round black ones. That's what the thing's thighs looked like. I mean, it looked like it was running on trash cans. And it didn't have, a lot of people say, well, man, its shoulders is wide and it come down in a V and, like a bodybuilder. No, the one I saw, it stayed like from its armpits down, the body just stayed like a drum. It was way bigger than a 55-gallon drum, but it was like that size all the way down. It didn't narrow in at the waist. It stayed down. And I tell people too, this thing had like a badonka butt on it. It's like you went down its back. When you got to its buttocks, it's like they were protruded out, like come out big. Its thighs and its hips and all were like massive. And it was just everything about it was big. I mean, in the head, it didn't like narrow down like my neck. It's like from right here at the bottom of its jaws, it just like sloped out to the end of the shoulders. All this was just like it's like the shoulders just kind of tapered up to the head, and it come down. And its head it wasn't round. Its head kind of round, angled up toward the back. But y'all, the hair on this thing, like when it hit the sunlight, after it really leapt and went into the sunlight, I could see the like when its arms and its arms. This was the crazy thing. This one, when it went across the road, it wasn't like the arms was doing this. No, it was near like it was holding its arms like they were barely moving down by its side, but the legs were just like a blur. But and it did like you know when you see a human running like a sprinter, they'll kind of like lean forward and run. This thing's back, its back was it man, it looked like you had a carpenter level. Its back stayed like straight up as it could be. It stayed just totally, its back was totally vertical. And that's another reason it looked odd because it wasn't running like leaning like the way it's, getting the weight helping pull it. No, it was just straight up. Its back was. It wasn't hunched or slouched. It like it had super giant posture, just great posture going across. But the light hitting it, the hair was so shiny. I mean, it looked like it had, like when I put beard oil on my beard, it was just like the light was just glistening. And it was ink. I tell everybody, ink black. I mean, the blackest black, shiniest black you could ever see. And it was so bright. And I know y'all seen a Brahma bull or a bull that's slicked out and great health, fed well, get out in the sun and their coat's real shiny, or like a Labrador Retriever. And like where the sun's hitting at certain places, it looked great. It's like reflecting the light so bright. I was seeing like the arms when they did move, I was like seeing the biceps bulge, and you could see like the muscle group showing up, like on its shoulders and its back. You could, and its thighs especially. But it was like it was going from black to gray, and it's like the gray is moving because the muscles are moving, and it's making it be like if you had a mirror, moving it. That's kind of what I was seeing. So it looked like the colors on it was moving around. And that thing crossed that distance, y'all. It was crazy. Crazy how that thing crossed
Crazy
that road.
fast.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing their abilities. Crazy, man.
Yep. But that for me, that was when I finally seen one, and I'm screaming. I've got a hold of the damn steering wheel. I pull myself up. I'm screaming at the windshield. I see you, you son of a bitch. I see you. And I was just screaming that over and over because I've been dealing with them for about 9 years, and I could not see one. At that moment, everything it was like mashing a zit. Everything come up and it exploded. Yeah. It's there you are.
Everything I ever caught was a glimpse, Greg. There's never, where I could say, yeah, that's what that was.
Yep, I'd seen glimpses of stuff, but I couldn't tell you what it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It was just like a flash of something or
a
little bitty of a movement. And, I was living through all this, but I when I finally seen one, it's like, there's no doubt anymore. Yeah. None.
Now, there are a couple of things that strike me about some of it. I don't know. I think I've told Jerry this, and I don't know if I ever told you this. Years ago, probably when I was about 13, there was a snowstorm. And I mean, ice and all that shit. And I was going out to help out at the parlor, and I was walking across the yard, and you can see the other end of the heifer lot from mom and dad's house, like where the headlocks are where we breed the heifers at. And I saw something. Now, I always thought maybe it was like like an apparition or something, because I've seen plenty of that stuff. Yeah. Standing at the other end of that feed lot, like it was granddad or something. And I stepped under the branch because ice weighing down everything. I stepped under that tree branch, and when my head came up again, it wasn't there. But now that I think back to it, several times I've thought about this, the size was all wrong. So did I catch a glimpse of one? Or was it something else? I don't know.
Hard to say.
I don't know. But on that question that she posted
Yeah,
right there.
Bond. Yeah. Mhm.
I cannot look. I don't know. I'm just a damn old goofy ass hillbilly redneck. I've never seen anything that I thought was interdimensional or no portals or nothing like that. Uh, for me, this part of my life, because of what I've witnessed, and this is based off of me. I'm talking about. I can't speak on what other people. Now I got it. I got a lot of friends that seen shit that I hadn't happened, and I'm not doubting their word because I trust these people with my life, and I have. I take them face value of their word. But for me, what I've witnessed, I've not seen any portals. I've not seen one shimmer and go away. But I did have one. Whatever crossed that road had to be a booger because it done it just like the boogers had done me before. I could hear it coming. It was walking around the field. It was breaking limbs. I was watching the saplings part as it was walking through, and it was coming around the edge of the field. And I'm in a tree stand with a 30-06 rifle. And in the corner of this field, about 30 yards, 35 yards from me, the field cornered. It cornered and came up the line where I was. So I'm looking in a corner. In that corner, going straight on out away from me, was about a 8 foot, I guess, or maybe a little bit more, just where I'd bush hogged out through this pine thicket. And the deer would come out in that opening, and it went probably 40, 50 yards, and it went over a hill. But the deer would come out in that because it was real easy walking on up into the field. That's why I bush hogged it, just a trail. This thing is coming, and it's on a T intersection with that road. The road's here and it's coming. If it keeps going straight, it's going to cross this road. I am sitting there and I'm watching I'm watching these trees move and hearing sounds like limbs big as my calves breaking. And I'm watching the tops of these trees move. I'm watching the saplings bend. I'm hearing the bipedal walking. And I heard it coming over 100 yards through that thicket. And this is just a growed up jungle thicket. I'm looking over top of my rifle. My rifle's propped up. I'm looking over the scope. And I'm like, I'm thinking as soon as it steps out, I'm going to drop in the scope and I'm going to get one hell of a good look because this thing's going to be about 30, 35 yards. And I'm fixing to see one right here. I watch those tree limbs or those saplings moving, hear the vines breaking and pulling. When you pull a honeysuckle vine, you hear the leaves coming off of it or briars, you're nagging. I'm hearing all these sounds and I know what it is. That thing come up to that road and it got quiet. And I thought, you bastard, you walked up there to that road and you stopped. You're not going to come out. And I'm sitting there and I'm on purpose. I didn't blink. I don't even know if I was breathing. I'm super quiet. I'm sitting there and I'm watching. I'm looking down right over top of the scope and I'm watching that hole. Just a few seconds. All those noises, all those sounds that I heard come up to that road have moved straight across that road and are on the other side, breaking limbs and walking and kept going. Whatever the hell crossed that road, there was no shimmer, there was no waviness, there wasn't no nothing. That thing crossed that road and I could not see it. I can't explain that any way, shape, form, or fashion. All I can tell you is whatever crossed that road, you couldn't see it. It was absolutely invisible when it crossed that road. I know that sounds crazy. I get that 100%. It even sounds crazy to me. But I watched that happen. I watched it play out. And I listened to that thing go on probably another 100 yards, and it went on out through that thicket and was gone. But I'm telling you, it sounded like that thing coming through there was as big as a full-grown bull with horns sticking out the side this big, the way it was breaking limbs and crunching stuff and tearing vines. It was just plowing through that, just walking like it was walking. It wasn't running, it was just walking. And I'm watching pine trees this big around at the tops, like it's pushing its way through them. And I'm watching them lean out and then spring back up. And I've seen them do that a bunch, several times. They'd go through that thicket. And I was above the tops of that saplings. And I could not only hear them, you could see where they were at moving through there. And So yeah, I mean that's the one of the most creepy things I ever saw was I watched that thing cross. I say watched it. I tried to watch it cross the road. So as far as like interdimensional, I don't know much about dimensions and this dimension, that dimension. For me, where I'm at this point, I guess I'll start off with saying I thought they're flesh and blood. 100%. This is just a big dumb monkey. It's damn something that's maybe a part monkey or a part gorilla and a part human, a hybrid. I didn't know. I thought this thing is some type of primate, and it's just really smart and it hides really well and it can live off the land. It's just the king of the woods. But then the more encounters I've had, the more stuff I've witnessed. These things have got some type of special ability that I don't even know how to explain what it is. But I do know that you can rebuke them and they will leave you. Now, I know I've got faith in the Lord. I believe in the Lord and I believe in the Lord's word.
Yep.
And I don't know if you don't, if your words to rebuke them would even carry water. I don't know. But I know I rebuked 3 of them one day and they left. They left instantly. I can't explain that either. So I think that, are they part descendant of the Nephilim? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I don't like to tell people that I've figured out anything. All I do is I'll try to tell people kind of what I believe, tell them what I've saw and what's happened. And I ask everybody to just make your own opinion.
Well said.
Yeah, I've changed my theory, my beliefs of what I think it is many times, and it still changes. It's crazy. It's hard. It's hard to really lay your hand or your finger on where to even consider what they are. It's crazy. But
River, I never did get any smell out there around my tank. I never did. I didn't. One of these days, maybe I'll be on one of these shows and one of these things beat the wall or hit that tank.
It was loud that night.
I
Bam!
know. I woke up and went back to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what?
missed
Y'all
it,
know what it wakes up egg.
Hey, I heard it and I was like, what the hell was that? And then I was like, oh, it's probably nothing.
Oh, it was. Bong.
Well,
David, it rang like a church bell, didn't it?
It sure did, man. All of us
Yeah,
just
you
like,
and River.
whoa.
you and River heard it better than I did.
It was loud.
Jeff, I'll just tell you, you could not take a 10-pound shop hammer out there and hit that tank and make it
Well,
ring.
no,
like
I've
that.
got tanks like that. You can't make that
Yeah.
sucker ring like that. I've got 1,000-pounders out there too. That's what, a 500?
Yeah, it's a 5.
upright. It's an upright, right?
Yeah, it's a above ground 500, like sitting horizontal.
that's what I have. Yeah.
Oh, it's a one of the okay.
Yeah, the horizontal. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple of the big. I got those, and I got a couple of the big ones.
Yeah, man.
River
I
heard it from down under.
Jeff, I wish you'd have got Brother Billy Schilling on here tonight.
You know,
Yeah,
I
man.
sent him a message, and he never got back to me.
He's not even in chat.
No.
No, he may be under the weather or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising because I sent him a message.
Yeah.
Wish he'd been on because I tell you that man's got some. He's definitely had some stuff happen.
Look at y'all see Wendell's comment. He said he wasn't part of the inner circles. Look here.
Aw.
Come
Hey.
on.
Wendell's everywhere.
I don't know how he figures that. He got to go on Miss V's show and do a whole gold prospecting. She don't
Yeah.
even do nothing gold prospecting. He got to go in there and do a prospecting show.
And he's got new hats.
They're nice hats.
Yeah, I saw those.
Y'all, Wendell's like Santa Claus. He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
He is.
There's 2 names I see on every chat, and it's Wendell and Gary Spikes.
Gary.
Gary's
Gary's
everywhere.
really everywhere.
Gary's awesome, man.
Yeah,
Gary's
Gary-
everywhere, always helping. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody that has never had the blessing to be around Gary Spikes in person is missing out.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I was honored. Me and Dee Dee got to take him out when we were at the LBL. And he said he hadn't been out for, I don't remember if it was for years or what, but man, he actually got to go out and ride with us. We are still honored about that.
Yeah.
New hats with
Oh,
the
that-
name spelled wrong. Yeah. Spelled his name wrong on him.
That's like when we went to Holland's back last fall. I was gathering up stuff to give away for the drawing at the meet and greet, the raffle. And Abby, she was digging around in a lot of my stuff. I've got enough stuff I could open my Army Navy surplus store. And Abby, I look over and she's getting these nice like military backpacks, and it's like a 3-day pack. It's kind of a mid-size. She had 3 of them sitting out. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm gathering up some stuff." Well, she got 3 of those backpacks, and then she dug out 3 of those hatchets, those military Spax hatchets that I got. They're brand new.
Oh,
She got
man.
out 3 of them, and then she got out some multi-tools. Everything was 3. And then she got out some Swiss Army knives. And I don't remember what else it was, but she had like a few other things. She had a pretty good bit of stuff shelved off in them backpacks. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm getting some stuff." I said, "For what?" She said, "Daddy, I'm going to take some gifts." I said, "Okay, what are you getting?" She said, "Well, I got 3 packs." I said, "You carrying 3? You going to give them away?" "Yeah, I'm going to give them away." I said, "Well, you just going to draw names?" "Nope." I said, "So you got people that's getting them?" She's like, "Yep." I said, who's going to get them?" She said, "Gary Spikes is getting one. Billy Shilling's going to get one. And Patrick Noble's getting one." So
I
that
knew
was the
Patrick Noble was going to be in that list somewhere.
Yeah.
that was she dug them out herself. She's like, "I'm carrying them some." I said, "Well, get them some."
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
that's-
them 3 people right there made a horribly hard impact on my baby girl.
Yeah. Those are 3 good people.
I wish I got to talk to Gary more.
Well, I'll tell you, boys, Gary's had a lot of encounters with squatches, but his squatches out there is a lot more peaceful than my squatches. And my God,
He's got happy squatches.
hey, I don't know how many walking sticks Gary's gave away. My goodness. A bunch of them.
I'll tell you what, after I've met all of you people, all these groups, I didn't think there were this many nice people in the world.
Wow.
I'm serious. This is everybody. I mean, I met Greg and Roger first, and then through that, the rest of you, and everybody is just never has anything bad to say about each other. It's always good comments, and
Sometimes.
Yeah.
well, in our private
tell you,
chat, yes, Gary.
I'll tell you this
Yeah.
right now. After that conversation we had earlier about that crap,
Yes.
don't ever start dragging everybody through the mud, and don't expect me to come out, because I will fight for everybody in this damn group, and I don't care what.
Is your great cup empty yet?
Oh, it needs a refill, but
I can tell.
I tell you, it ain't that talking. I can tell you that much right now. Because I tell you, if anybody ever tells Greg that he's lying, I will drive to that person's house.
Y'all, the cool thing for me was that, I can't bring everybody here. I mean, I just can't.
Yeah.
And because I cannot risk pissing these things off and messing up what I got going. And I get people all the time. It's like, people will hear me talk about what I've experienced, and they're like, everybody's got the same idea and they act like that I hadn't they just bumfuzzle. Well, why ain't you thought of this? And they're like, well, man, you need to get some cameras and you need to record this and you need to do that. You need to
Leave them
no,
alone. Leave them alone.
no. Here's the deal. Most of the time cameras are gonna run them off. And if I did record something audio wise, what am I gonna do with it? Seriously, what am I gonna do with it?
Right.
I Flat Rock's been up here. Joe and Pat's been here. Phyllis and John's been here. Roger and his son Peyton come here and
Billy
they
Shell's
found,
been here too.
yeah, Billy Shelling's been here. Spencer, Misty, Mark Newble, Larry Port's been here. He stopped by one day. But a lot of these folks that's came here, guys, some of them hadn't heard nothing. Mark Green's been up here. He's heard them. Misty's Aunt Sherry, Aunt Donna, her Uncle Jim. I mean, they all come here, stayed a week, and out of a week's stay, five nights out of 6, we sat on my porch and had activity around the porch. Had rocks thrown out of the woods right by the porch. Watching red eye shine in the woods. They walk behind our old Connex building out here, our Connex box that I made a storage building out of.
Poor Al is all I'm going to say about that Connex box. I've heard that story.
Yeah, look, we sat on the porch, about 10 of us, and watched red eye shine looking around the Connex in the dark. We wouldn't shine lights over there. The thing would look out one side, and it went around the back and looked around the other side, and it moved down through the woods. And then here in a little bit, that's when we got a rock bigger than a golf ball come flying, barely missed the porch post, went kind of by the edge of the porch and hit the ground and bounced about 20 yards across my yard and went in the woods. The next day, Misty and Donna and Sherry went out there where it had come up to the back of the Connex. Well, undoubtedly, after we went in that night, because look, they walked out that trail every day going out there looking, and they found like tree structures. They even found small little structures that had been put together. I mean, like a foot, 2 foot high.
Wow.
And they wound up right behind my Connex where they had just walked the day before or several days in a row. There was where a tree had been cut down and it was like a poplar. And you know how they'll come up back out of the stump and it'll just be like stems, bigger as my thumb will come up and just be like 8 or 10. Well, something had took and stepped on all them pieces and folded them out flat. I mean, they wasn't standing, none of them stand up. They were all broke and pointing different directions. It stomped it. And it done it that night. Spencer, Mark Newble, they've sat on my porch and heard these things screaming in the distance. They may be a quarter of a mile, they may be 200 yards. Misty had one tree knock within probably 50 yards. And then it walked up and stepped on an old piece of metal out here in my yard in the edge of the woods. And you can hear the metal on her recorder. You can hear it step on that piece of roofing tin. They've recorded a lot of stuff here. But, I brought these people here and they had experiences. Me sitting here on crutches. They knew like hell I wasn't out there hoaxing nothing.
Right.
Misty pulled up, wasn't here 5 minutes, and it sounded like he was at the primate exhibit at the zoo. It's like they knew she was here. And we listened to that go on for 10 minutes. And I'm talking about it was less than probably 150 yards right here beside the man cave, broad daylight. It was god awfulest. It sounded like they was 5 or 6 of them. And they were just all, let's go tell her on the mountain, she's back. And they were just it sounded just like a bunch of monkeys. We get the weird owl hoots that didn't make sense. Sound like a 800-pound owl with laryngitis. And Mark Green, we went down. We found the tent site where the 2 tents were shredded. And I took some pictures that day. And in one of the pictures, I just took around, just click, 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 click. Well, a day or two later, I got to zooming them in and blowing them up. And I've got a black something. It looks like the side, the side of something behind a tree and would have been about 75 yards from where I was taking those pictures. And it looks like it's shiny black hair sticking out, just barely sticking out about that much. And it looks like you're probably seeing about 5 foot of it beside this tree. Well, we went back down there, me and Spencer and Misty. And I think, yeah, me, Spencer, and Misty, and Mark Noble went back because I took those pictures when Mark Green and his son Jonathan was here. We just a fluke. We rode down that road. I was showing him where I'd had a lot of encounters. And then I found out before Misty and them came, which a few weeks later, we went back down there and I got in the same spot and I would look on my phone at that picture and I found the exact trees. And Spencer, he walked down there where it was. There was nothing there that should have been on that picture. Nothing.
Wow.
And, you know, all I can tell you is it's something that was black, shiny, covered in hair, and it was big. And it was just barely sticking out behind this big tree. So, I mean, did I catch part of one in the picture? I don't know. It's something black and shiny. And it wasn't there when we went back. But I mean,
Wow.
Donna and Misty, Donna and Sherry, that was before Misty got here. They went behind my propane tank about 110 yards. There's a little clearing. They got over there in the mud, soft ground mud. They found 3 different size tracks, barefoot, 5 toes. I think one of them, the small one, was like 5, 6 inches, and then one of them was like 11 inches, and the other one was pushing 18 inches. They found tracks right over here. All right, Kumbo found about the same size tracks, nearly identical sizes, about 6 months before Donna and Sherry found them. Kumbo was here. We done a podcast. Me and him sitting in the double recliners right across the room. And when he left, when he turned his truck around, started down the driveway,
That one.
within, 100 feet of where I'm sitting, one walks across my driveway right in front of his truck. Al saw the one right here behind the propane tank. So, I mean, I've had these people come here, and I'm proud they did. I'm overwhelmed that they did because they get to tell people about the encounters they've had here.
Yeah.
So it
Everybody.
validates massively what I tell people. And guys, at no point in this did I have anything to gain. I never made a
Nope.
penny do it. And I went for years and years and wouldn't talk about it. And a matter of fact, on Woodwalkers Sunday, this Sunday, the guest we got coming on is the guy from Oklahoma, the first person that ever talked me into doing an interview, and I was really uncomfortable doing it then. And then after I done his interview, it was probably, I don't know, 8, 9 years before I ever done another one. And but it's Chuck Schlabs that he used to have a little old podcast back several years
Chuck's
ago.
coming on. That's awesome.
Yeah, but that's who will be on Sunday. Spencer had called me about an hour before this started tonight. He told me that's who was going to be on Sunday. And I have not talked to Chuck since I done the interview. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll get reacquainted with him then.
Greg, did you see the question that Sean's actually our dog man witness from down here?
Sean, I'll tell you this: the only reflection on eyes that I've ever seen was red. I don't. As far as that, the white, I've not seen the white. What I have seen is red. Now I'll tell you this: there's a guy that approached me one night here, local here in town. This guy grew up is working in the logwoods. All his family had ever done for a couple generations was they were log, haul pulp wood and logs and everything else. This boy approached me in the Dollar General. That's been 7, 8 years ago now. Me doing what I do, I thought he was wanting to rat on somebody that was selling dope or something. Because, I was wearing a badge and a gun, and I'd went in the dollar store, and this dude walks up to me, and I knew this boy. He's a couple years younger than me, but we went through the same small school together. And this guy walks up to me, and he's like looking around to see if anybody's listening. He said, "Hey, I need to talk to you." I said, "What you got?" He's like, man, I don't want to tell you in here. And I thought instantly, okay, he's wanting to drop a dime on somebody selling dope or doing something. I said, well, dude, I got all my stuff. I got to pay for it. I said, if you want to, just meet me out there. You see my truck in the parking lot. He said, yeah. I said, I'll be out there in a minute. So I paid for my stuff and went out. And I got up there, and this old boy in the parking lot, he's like, looking around everywhere, making sure nobody's listening. I said, what do you got? He's like, man, I seen something. Said somebody told me you knew something about them things. I said, what things? He said, them damn monster things. I said, what? He said, them monsters, man. Me and my old lady, we seen something last week. Said, I don't know what the hell it was. I don't know. I said, dude, what are you talking about? He said, man, he told me where it was. And from where I'm sitting, it's probably about 8-10 miles. And kind of northeast of here. And it's over in this national forest. He said, man, we'd been out riding. And what they would do is they would walk these creeks. And they'd walk where like fire lanes or fire breaks was. And they would take and look for Indian artifacts. You know, just like surface find. If they walked up on something, they might pick it up. He said, man, we was over there just looking around and said it got dark. Said we come across the bridge and went up and they hit this long straightaway. And he said, man, you know, that straightaway is a couple of 100 yards, 250 yards long. And he said on the far end of that, on each side of the road, he said there was this big blue, looked like a reflector. He said that thing, it looked like it was big as a driveway reflector, one of them round reflectors. And he said it was bright. And he said, I thought, what in the hell kind of reflectors that up there in them trees? He said, we just kept going that way. He said, we was driving slow, so probably running 15 mile an hour. And he said, the closer we got, said these things got bigger. And he said, man, I got up there and stopped. So I pulled my dimmer switch back where it was the bright and the low beams at the same time. He said, man, them damn things had to be 8 foot tall, so that's covered in hair. And said that, he said, man, said their eyes, said they turned and faced us. And he said, them things had a damn snout on them. And he said, their ears are sticking up. He said, their eyes, both eyes is blue. He said, I'm talking about blue. I said, well, dude, what'd you do? He said, well, I just froze. He said, hell, I didn't know what to do. So there's one on the left, one on the right. You know, this is just a 1-lane gravel road. He said, we'll just sit there and looking at him. He said, man, the old lady said, shit, she's about to go under the dash. And she was screaming and crying. And he said, man, he said, they was facing us then. And he said, this one turned and walked off up through the woods. And this one, he said, like they done the same time. They both turned and started walking away. So they went away from each other and just went off in the woods.
Wow.
I said, what'd you do? He said, I got the hell out of there. He said, what the hell? He goes, what the hell is them things? I said, dude, I don't know what to tell you. I said, what I see didn't have no pointed ears. But I said, maybe what you saw is what they call a dog man, brother. He said, man, he said, you know, I growed up in this forest. He said, I ain't never seen no shit like that. I said, well, you know, if you see anything else, I said, holler at me. I said, but dude, look, I said, I don't know about them, but I know Bigfoot's real. And
Wow.
yeah, I noticed Rick was saying something about my big.
Yeah, several people have said, talk about the roof.
Look, y'all, it's about enough. It's about enough when they come up and they slap your house. They hit the wall and it shake the whole
pull
place.
on your door.
Hey, Greg,
Yeah.
as much as I want to have an experience, the ones I hear from you, I think if one jumped on my roof, I'm not going back to the woods or my man cave.
This right here, when I added on to this, I built on this the addition, and the rafters here is just a lean-to roof, and I put 2x6s every 16 inches, and I doubled them. I put 2 together, so it's a 4x6 rafters on 16-inch centers. It's got OSB, 7/16 OSB on the inside, and its deck was 7/16 OSB. And then
I love the amount of detail he gives about all this.
Yeah,
it really tells you.
But I got
the amount of weight.
I got 90-pound felt, and then I've got roofing metal. So it's a metal roof on top. It's built strong. And y'all, I had guys up there that was 195, 200 pounds putting that on. You could stand right here and you couldn't hear them walking up there. Every now and then you maybe could tell where they were. But y'all, that thing, I was sitting here and it was raining and the wind wasn't really blowing, but it was just like a steady rain. I'm sitting right over there in a recliner, which is about 8 feet, and over the back porch. Now, this thing is 30 feet wide and 40 feet long. It's 1,200 square feet. Across over there, probably 45 feet from where I was sitting, kind of on the back corner, there's a big tree. I hear something hit the roof, and I thought, gosh, damn, a big pine limb. A pine limb's done fell out and landed on my roof. Well, it didn't just hit and just kaboom. It did that, but the sound didn't stop. This sounded like, in my mind, I was picturing like I tell people, if you see the big gorilla in the zoo, when they're running and it's like, or kind of scuttling, their back's kind of up straight, but they got their knuckles, like knuckles, feet, knuckles, feet, knuckles, feet, and they don't run straight, they kind of like run at a 45-degree angle. I listen to this thing, blah, 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 and it goes up the roof line, up over there. It gets to the peak and it comes down. Well, that thing comes down the roof, and I'm talking about exactly right over my big recliner. That thing stops straight over my head. Now, when I hear it coming, I've done reached over and grabbed a Smith & Wesson combat revolver, 357 Magnum. I chuck it out of the holster. I just chuck it out of the holster and throw the holster in my lap. I bring that pistol up. I'm thumb cocking it, and I bring it up, and I lay the recliner completely back, and I'm sitting just like this, and I'm aiming at the ceiling. Because I'm like, is this...
You had messaged us, I don't know if it was our show or whose show it was, but I see Greg in the chat going, I got a standoff on the roof or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the hell is he talking about?
Well, that thing sits there, it gets quiet, and I'm talking about is straight up. If I had took that pistol and shot through that ceiling, there's no doubt I would have hit whatever it was, probably in the sack.
Well,
I'm talking about I'm talking about if that thing had a string and a plumb bob in its mouth, it would have been hitting me right in the middle of my body. And it stood there about, I say, a good long 60 seconds. So, I mean, I'll say at least a minute. And where it came in at this angle, it didn't leave at that angle. It turned and went right from that chair right through this wall right here behind me. And this is a bedroom through this wall. And that's the bedroom that they usually hit the wall in. I hear that thing take off, and it's blum, 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 and it just gets quiet. It jumps off the damn roof on that end. Well, I'm like, oh my God. Well, I'm still, I've let the hammer down on that revolver, and I'm not pointing at the ceiling no more. And I'm like, that shit just happened. Oh my God, that shit just happened.
Yeah.
Well, didn't you go look outside too that night?
I peeped out the door, but I wasn't walking my ass out there where it went off at. Oh,
because I remember you called me the next day or something, and we were
I don't, Jeff. I've got it on my list of things to do, and the top of the list is not be a chapter in a David Pilates book. So
because I remember something about a certain riot gun and you peeking the door open and
dude, look, before I went looked out the door, I went about 12 feet right there and got one of them semi-automatic 12 gauges with buckshot and slugs on it. Okay, it'll spook you, y'all. I mean, it's crazy sometimes. But yeah, that thing, how in the world it knew to stop exactly over my chair is still.
That was the weird part for me, was how it knew.
And then, y'all, about a week or 10 days after that, I guess, somewhere like that, Troy Allen came over here from below Macon, Georgia. It takes him about 5.5 hours to get here. come over here and stayed about 4 or 5 days with me. And, I'd done told him on the phone about it. He said, all right, he said, show me where that thing was at. And I'm still sitting in the chair because, I had my leg worked on. I said, look, Dave, go over to that back corner of the porch. And I said, it went up and over. Well, look, I got a bunch of pine trees here. And there was a lot of pine straw. I mean, like probably 5 or 6 inches, like a blanket. All right. Troy goes out there and he gets the ladder and gets turned around or something where he can see up on the roof. And he said in that pine straw, he could see the indentions. It looked like you'd mashed carpet down. That thing went up at an angle from that corner, went up that roof at an angle, and he saw where it went over the peak. Well, then he come around here and got at this porch, got climbed up where he could see over on the roof. He said he could see on the peak on this side where it came down. And from there to that porch, he could see, he said it was like a spot about that big where it stopped, was right over my chair. Yeah. And then he said that he can see the tracks right where I told him. And where it went off the end, he went around to the outside down there. And look, this is only probably 15, 18 foot from that propane tank. It's on the same end. Well, off on the ground in that thicket, Troy said there was a spot, like big as a wash tub. Said, how pine straw and leaves will be like carpet and you could rake it like tearing paper. He said it was just like bare dirt and a bunch of like just a mound of straw and leaves, like where something hit the ground and kind of slid. But he said, dude, I can see where it hit the ground, where it jumped off the roof and where it left. So, but
wow.
I mean, it's just absolutely, that's what I tell people, y'all. I mean, I've seen stuff and I don't get excited when people say, man, I think I may have something on recording. Well, I'm proud for them.
Yeah.
But, I've heard so much of this stuff way off. I've heard much of it up close. It's just, I tell people, I said, well, we call that a Wednesday. You don't know what's going to win.
Has Troy ever done shows besides Woodwalkers?
Nope. And it was like pulling teeth to get him to come on there with me, and he was sitting beside me.
I mean, even now, would he, if you just talked to him on the phone, you think he'd talk to one of us, or you?
Probably.
If we weren't televised, because I'd love to pick his brain about some stuff.
Oh, I get him to call you. He'll talk to you for 2 or 3 hours, yeah.
I would have zero problems with that.
Oh, Troy's a good dude, man. I look at Troy like an older brother, and man, he's one of the best dudes I've ever been around ever in my life.
Where does he live? Does he live in Alabama or is he in Georgia?
Nope, he lives a little town just south of Macon, Georgia. He's about from Mark Green's and Rebecca's. It's probably going to be another 3 hours to Troy's.
Okay.
He lives in Georgia. He lives south of Macon.
Okay.
But now, see, he grew up, his grandpa and his grandma, where he grew up around Boogers, is not probably ain't over 30, 45 minutes from Flat Rock. Oh. It's in Alabama. It's just below. All right. Miss Bama BF that's in chat on like Woodwalkers.
Mm-hmm.
Troy, about what I've stuck together, Troy's grandparents' place was probably less than 30 minutes from where she lives. So, but yeah, they grew up with them down there, and that, Troy and them had that. They had the farm, and for like 3 generations, 4 generations, and all the generations of his family dealt with boogers the whole time they had that place.
Now, what were they were they raising cows there, or were they raising crops, or what?
Raised crops. I think he may have had some cows, but I know he done just like farming, like crop raising.
Yeah.
But yeah, Troy, y'all, and that's what Coonbo will tell you. All the encounters I've had, if you took my encounters and Coonbo's encounters, rolled them up together, we still hadn't had as much as what Troy had.
Oh, Bud was asking earlier if he was the only person that never heard anything at the man cave.
Well, let's see. John and Phyllis didn't hear anything when they were here. Bud didn't hear nothing. Bud got here on the off night, I guess. I don't think it was because the boogers didn't like him. I just think he got here at the wrong time. Uh, I don't remember. I think Joe and Pat may have heard something. I can't remember.
Did Billy hear anything when he was there?
No, Billy didn't.
Oh, did?
I just rode Billy down and showed him. He said he figured this was one of the creepiest places he'd ever been.
I still laugh about Billy talking about picking up that aluminum foil in your yard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I figured that was the dogs that had done that, but who knows?
He told me, he said, I'm standing over there, Greg's on the phone, and I'm picking up this aluminum foil, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe this wasn't dogs.
But y'all, the back porch right here where that one jumped off on that roof, that's where I had my all those people that seen the pictures of all the people that seen the pictures of me at the LBL or at any of the meet and greets where I brought my big, 10-gallon cast iron kettle and cooked for everybody. Yeah. That kettle that everybody got to eat out of. I'll just tell you, and I don't know if I've ever even brought this up.
I've heard that. I think I've heard this from you somewhere.
The kettle, what I want to say though, the kettle that I cooked that food in, that's the same kettle that about 3.5 gallons of cooking oil got sucked out of on my porch. Same kettle. Ooh. That's because that 10-gallon kettle, I'd put about 6 gallons of cooking oil in it. And I'd had a bunch of friends over, and we had probably 17, 18 people. And y'all, we had fried, God, I mean, we fried 50 catfish fillets. We had fried 10 pounds of shrimp. We had all kinds of seafood, hush puppies, fries, onion rings. We just had a sure enough fish. Well, I just cut that. I cut that kettle off.
Somebody didn't suck the oil out of it themselves.
Now, look, dude, that was on a Saturday night, and I just cut the burner off, and I got a big aluminum. The lid's like this big around on that 10-gallon kettle, and the lid's heavy. It's got a big wooden handle screwed to this solid aluminum lid. And I just left the lid off of it that night to let the oil cool off. Well, it was still hot, so I wasn't going to, strain it out and save the oil. I thought, well, I'll just put the lid on it, and I'll leave it tonight, and I'll get the oil out tomorrow. Well, I got busy. Well, it stayed there Saturday night, Sunday night, and then Monday, I thought, I've got to do something with that damn cooking oil, or it's going to go bad. I'll forget about it. I pull up, I go around, go up on that porch, and the porch on the back of this thing it's a covered, it's 40 feet long and 12 feet wide. I walk up the ramp on that porch, and just as I get up on the surface of the porch, I look about 10 feet over there. That kettle is sitting about 2 feet from, I got a big picnic table made out of treated lumber. This thing's 12 feet long, big picnic table. It's about 2 foot from the end of that picnic table. The lid, that big aluminum lid, had been picked up and was sitting in the middle of that picnic table. Right in the middle, the handle was up, the lid has been picked up and carried over and set out. The oil was about that far from the top. It was probably 8 inches from the top of that big kettle when we were frying food, and that's what was in there when we were done. Y'all, that kettle, the sides go down pretty straight, and then it starts, it's like a bowl with tall, straight up sides. That oil level was dropped that far. I'm talking about that much low. It was done down into the part of the bowl part. There had to be no less than 3 gallons of peanut oil gone. And look, the night when I did all that, to keep from splattering that on my deck back there, the wooden part of the porch, we had took cardboard and put cardboard down. Well, that night, of course, the cardboard was oily and all that. My wife Wanda had folded it up and put it in a trash can. The treated lumber, the 5/4 decking lumber around that, there was no oil anywhere. I'm talking about not a drop of oil spilled on that porch. If a dog had got up there, they would have had to shove that lid off And if they had stuck their snout over in there, they would have dripped cooking oil. They'd have been cooking oil everywhere. Coons would have been the same thing. Anything that I think of that would have wanted to drink that cooking oil would have made a damn mess. I can't look what could have picked up that. I bet that lid weighs 3 or 4 pounds because it's aluminum, and it was picked up. It wasn't just like pushed off and fell on the porch. This thing was in the middle of that picnic table, and all that oil was gone, and there wasn't a drop spilled anywhere. None. Not any. And I don't know if in my mind I'm like, did these things come? Because that thing's this big around. Did a booger come over and stick it, monkey lip his lips out there and just suck him
Right.
mouthful of oil? We laughed about it, me and Coonbo and Jimmy Osborne. I was like, boys, I don't know whether to go up through the woods and just look on the sides of these trees and see if just shit splattered up on one of these trees where it scared him. I don't know. But they was damn sure at least 3, if not 3.5 gallons of peanut oil.
Something had diarrhea after it ate
Wow.
that much.
I guarantee you, if he had worms, he'd pull them out.
Or stomach ache, one of the things. Yeah.
But it's to goodness, I don't know if I ever told anybody that, but that kettle that I've been carrying to the LBL.
You've never told him that much description, but I've heard you mention the kettle before.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same kettle that everybody ate chicken stew, chili.
Michael X.
It's a cauldron.
That's the same kettle that had the.
Michael X just said I wouldn't be following that track way.
The crap way, yeah.
Yeah, crap way, yeah.
Crap
way.
They had to have done something like that because I don't see how they couldn't have made a mess either, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they wasn't, if they was dipping it up, I got to think, well, if they was using their hands and dipping it up, they would have got it on their hand, their hair, it would have dripped.
That reminds me of the story about the garbage bag, Greg.
Jeff, that was crazy.
When you guys were having that New Year's party.
Yeah. Man, I was in a damn wheelchair. That's when I first broke my leg. And that was New Year's Eve. But me and Al got over here. They'd built me a temporary ramp from in here to in there. It's 3 steps to go up from the new part to the old part. And, I hadn't been over here in over a month, or right at a month. And I told Al, I said, I'll get in there in the kitchen and I'll tell you what to do to make jambalaya. So he was cooking. I was in the wheelchair and I thought, well, I got to do something.
You have to give Al instructions for jambalaya.
Well, yeah, Al can cook, but he needs a little guidance here and there. But anyway, he had it going, and and look, y'all. I mean, this is Alabama. That evening it was probably like 58 degrees outside. The weather was glorious. We had, and it was before I had the porch built right here. It was just, I hadn't even really got done with this thing when I broke my leg. We had this door open and we had the back door open, and I was in a wheelchair and I opened the refrigerator and I got a trash bag, just set it in the floor, and I'm rolling around the wheelchair and I'm just grabbing stuff that, like, look at the date, throw it in the bag, look at the date, throw it in the bag. And it was like 2 or 3 packs of hot dogs, like some sour cream. There was some milk that wasn't no good, and I made him pour it out. We put the jugs in there, but it was just all kind, like some lunch meat, bologna, some eggs that was out of date. I'm just cleaning. I'm throwing away piece of jars of shit. I got this garbage bag. Y'all, I bet that thing weighed 25 pounds at least, if not 30. And it was just food. Everything in that was food stuff. Well, I get all that cleaned up and got it bagged up. I told Al, I said, if you don't care, sit this outside. And he set it out on the porch by the porch railing. It's a covered porch. It's got a banister all the way around it with the pickets in it. And he set it right against, like, basically where my table is, the picnic table. And it was like the wooden bench part and the railing kind of in a corner. He set it there. Well, there was a bag of garbage that was in the trash can, so he tied it up and set it side by side. They were touching each other. Well, it starts getting dark, and I'm sitting there in my wheelchair really close to the damn door, like within 3 foot of the door, and I've got Troy Allen on the cell phone. Got my cell phone laying on. I got a table by the door, but I got my coffee maker on. and I got Troy on speakerphone. And me and Al and Troy are having this conversation. Well, right out that door, and it's only about 30 foot to the wood line. Right there in the woods where it goes off the hill to the river, there's a monotone whistle. Y'all, it would bust your eardrums. And it was so damn loud, he goes, oh shit, I heard that whistle. I said, you heard it? He said, hell yeah, whistle back at it, whistle back at it. I said, hell no, I ain't whistling back to it. He said, whistle back to it. I'm going, and I'm sitting there arguing with Troy, and Al standing there like staring jambalaya, doesn't stop looking. And I was going, shit, that was loud. I said, yeah, it was loud. Al and Troy's going, where was it? I said, right out here by my Connex. I said, the thing couldn't have been 40, 50 yards right here. Ain't no way. He said, whistle back at it. I'm like, I don't want to. He said, whistle back. He's letting you know that he's out there. Whistle back. I'm like, dude. He's like, whistle. And it's arguing. And I'm finally like, okay, all right. So I just like roll up, and I'm like, right here at the door, and I kind of like lean up in my wheelchair, and I'm looking around. I look back at Al, and I'm like, okay. So I go, hell, I can't even whistle right now. My mouth's dry. But I just monotone whistle, I can't whistle. Yeah, about like that. I can actually whistle that day. Normally I can, but my mouth's dry. Anyway, I whistle one time, probably 3 seconds. And Troy's going, y'all listen, y'all listen. I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of like looking out. And I don't know, probably 25, 30 seconds pass. I just backed my wheelchair back. I said, it didn't do shit. And about that time, just that come out of my mouth, as a goddamn rock hits the wall. And the wall, outside I got roofing metal for siding. He hits that damn wall. Bam! And I whoop my head and look. He hit the wall just to the side of the door and bounces and goes back under the picnic table, and the rock goes out in the yard. And Troy goes, what the hell was that? I said, the bastard just threw the rock at the damn house. He goes, whistle back at it again. I was like, no. He's like, I said, no. He said, I'm telling you, whistle back at him. He's just letting you know. I said, I don't care if he knows or not. And we're just arguing. And he whistle. I said, all right, okay. I roll back up in the door, and I'm looking. Can't see nothing. I whistle again. I back my wheelchair back up. Bam! He's like, whistle back at him. No. In just a minute, I hear a vehicle, and my brother, my sister-in-law, and their 2 kids pull up, and they get out slamming doors and all this and come walking up on the porch. Well, I never say anything else about it. I'm like, well, they pulled up, come up here, the thing ain't gonna do nothing else. Well, everybody gets here. Wanda, Colt, Abby come. Like I said, my other brother and sister-in-law come. Al's here. We got 10 or 12 people. All right. We're here. They're in here in the new living room, and they're playing board games and laughing. Well, the doors are scotched open. The air's coming through. It's nice. Y'all, I go out on the back porch in my wheelchair to go out there and smoke. And I'm sitting there at the top of the ramp, and it's about probably 20 minutes till midnight or somewhere close. I can't remember now exactly. It's been 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, I guess. But anyway, I'm sitting there in the wheelchair. Yeah, it was 3 years ago. I was sitting there in the wheelchair, and all of a damn sudden I hear a damn racket, and the neighbor's got this big old black part loud. That thing comes around the corner of this under that porch with me, and I'll about turn the wheelchair over backwards. And at that time, that dog was really shy. It wouldn't have nothing to do with me. And that dog running straight to me as he could come, and he cowed down. The door was open kind of behind me, and I could touch the wall. I mean, I was just right by the wall. But that dog run kind of up in the hole between my wheelchair wheel, the door, and the wall. It was like a cubby hole. That dog run up in there, and that thing cowed down, and it was just shaking. And I'm like, go on, buddy. Go on. His name's Buddy. I was like, go on, buddy. Go on. Go on. And he ain't moving. His dog, he won't leave my side. And I'm thinking, yeah, something got old Buddy spooked. So I try to run him off, and he ain't leaving. So I back my wheelchair up, and when I back my wheelchair up to turn and go in the door, as soon as I gave him a gap, that dog come around that door, and he shot on the inside, come in the kitchen. Well, I come in behind him and I'm screaming for Abby, get this stupid dog, get him outside. He don't need to be in here, get him outside. Well, Wanda and Abby come up there and they're one pushing and one pulling. That dog will not go out that door. They finally get him up. We had some little old ham sandwich sliders a sister-in-law had made. Get one of them and they start holding it to his nose and Wanda's pulling. And it was like baiting up Scooby-Doo to get him back outside. Well, they got him out that door and Wanda slammed that door. And y'all, I had just seen out that door, I know both them bags, the bag of garbage and the bag of food, was sitting side by side, 12 feet from the door, right in front of the door. As soon as they shoved that dog out that door and shut it, before I could turn my wheelchair around to get here to the opening coming in here, that dog run around this cabin, and that door over here was open. That dog jumped 3.5 feet off the ground, or nearly 4, and jumped in this door opening. No steps, no nothing. He launched and come running in here around everybody, and like he was shaking, trying to hide. Well, I'm not thinking he's that spooked about something. I'm like, get that stupid dog. They're trying to push him back out this door opening. They can't make him go out it. I said, shut that door, lead him back up here, get him another sandwich. And they're pulling and baiting him up, and they get him shoved back out the door. And those 2 bags were still there. They got that son of a gun out there, shut the door, and that dog hauled butt. He's gone. All right, we're talking just a few minutes before midnight. What time all this happens, it's just a few minutes before midnight. They got the big screen TV on. We're watching the ball drop, all that bullshit. Soon as it drops, my brother's like, thank God we're going home. I'm tired. I had to work, blah, blah, blah. I said, look, y'all get a bunch of that food. That, we made like 3.5 gallons of jambalaya. Get some of that. Split the food up before you leave. Well, everybody goes up in there in the kitchen. Wanda, she comes back down here. She's turning all the lights off because she knows everybody's fixing to leave. I was actually going to go back home too. We weren't even going to stay over here. And Wanda, she comes through and she went to turn the light off on this fan. And I'm at the top of these steps looking at her, and she goes, like wrinkles her nose up, like she just like snorted a lemon. She's like, what is that smell? I said, what? She said, oh my God. She's like fanning. What is that? I said, I don't know. What are you talking about? You don't smell that smell? I said, probably that damn jambalaya fumes bubble out your butthole. She goes,
Bubbling out your butthole.
no, it's something horrible. I don't know how you don't smell that. I said, well, I don't smell that. Anyway, she comes up in there where we're at, and dude, you could not smell it in that kitchen. We're sitting there, or they're divvying the food up, putting it in Ziplocs. And about that time, I told Wow, I said, hey, dude, if we're about to leave, and I guess we are, I said, if we ain't going to haul that garbage off tonight, and I don't feel like messing with it, I said, just get that stuff, that food, just bring it back, set it in here in the kitchen floor, we'll haul it off tomorrow. Well, everybody's standing right there in that kitchen by that door, and Al shoves that door open. And he's like, stops, and he's looking. And he looks back at me, and he looks back outside, and he goes, what'd you do with it? I said, what? He said, that bag of that food. I said, it's still sitting right. And I looked past him, and I'm like, dude, it was sitting right there, and it ain't been 15 minutes ago. I just saw it. It was there a while ago. The bag of garbage was still sitting there, but that bag that had all that food in it was gone. And look, the top of that railing is about 6 foot off the ground. But I really believe that thing walked up there and reached over that railing, and it didn't do it because the doors had been open. There was no way. It was right in front of that door. Porch lights was on. But I think when we shut those doors, it knew we couldn't see it, and it walked up there and just snatched up and left with it. But the other thing was when Al opened that door, Al goes, gosh, damn. And he said, you smell that? And about that time, it hit me. I said, yeah, I smell it. And I said, your ass knows what that is, don't it? He goes, yeah. What is, oh my God. And everybody in there is going, oh God, oh man, what is that? And I'm not wanting to alarm the kids. I'm looking at Wanda. I said, be quiet. Well, my God, we got to now over dramatize everything. I said, it's a booger. What? I said, a booger. That is a fucking Bigfoot. That's what they smell like. Now you've smelt one. And I said, let's go.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. Now you know what they smell like.
Wow.
And everybody in there gets quiet. And I told Al, Al goes, that SOB's close. I said, yeah. I said, I'm sure it's the same one that was throwing rocks and whistling at us. I told my brother, I said, look, I said, you and called his wife's name. I said, you and Cherish. I said, y'all, Al's going to walk y'all to your truck. I said, you get the kid between y'all. Y'all walk to the truck, get in your truck, and leave. All right. My other brother, they had actually left they left a little early, probably about, well, when I first went out there before the dog got spooked. They
Now,
had
is this
just
the
left.
brother that lives next to you?
Yeah, he's staying in the mobile home, and I got
Yeah.
down here to my new house. But anyway, they had done left. They missed out on all the carnage. But they wind up. They Wanda and Colt and Abby are standing there, and they're just all kind of like, I don't know about all this. You know, they didn't want to go outside. And Abby told me, she said, Daddy, I'm a little scared. I said, baby, don't be scared. I said, I ain't gonna let nothing hurt you. I said, you're fine. You're gonna be fine. I gotta plug my thing up, guys. Hang on a second. Get some juice Tristy in this. I said, y'all, look, baby, you're gonna be wonderful. Don't freak out. Don't worry. Well, Al got my brother and his wife and kids in the truck. They left. He come back around here and he goes, man, that thing will choke you down. It'll burn your eyes out. It smells so bad. I said, yeah, I know. And I looked at Colt and Abby, and then Colt was 15, had his learner's permit. And he was all about, I want to drive. I looked at both of them. I said, let me tell y'all something. We're gonna go out there to Mama's car. I said, I'm gonna roll my wheelchair down this ramp, around this walkway, and I'm gonna be about 8 foot from Mama's car. I said, Colt, you get yourself in the front passenger side. Abby, you get your little self in the passenger side in the back. I said, your mama's gonna drive. You damn sure better not even whisper, I want to drive. If I hear I want to drive, I'm gonna slap the shit out of somebody. I said, y'all go to your assigned seating and y'all get that out there. And I didn't want to go through a damn 10-minute session. I want to drive or I want to ride front. No, we ain't got time for all that. And I told Abby, I said, look, I want you behind my wheelchair. You hang on to these handles, Colt. You stay right behind your sister, you holding her shoulders. And your mama's going to be behind y'all, and Al's going to be behind your mama. We're going to go out of here like Thomas the Train. We rolled down there. Look, I was the only man probably in North America that had a wheelchair that had a dedicated 357 Magnum and a holster that wheelchair. And I done pulled that pistol out and had it laying in my lap. I rolled down that ramp and got there to the end of it. And my kids got there to them 2 doors, and it's just ingrained in them. We're going to have to gripe about something. They got there, and I heard Abby. She goes, but she wanted to ride in the front. And by the time she got out, Wanda goes, get your little ass in the car. And they wasn't that got in the damn car. But they got in, and I sat there and watched them turn around and leave. Well, then I opened the truck door, and it took me a minute because, I had that big old brace and couldn't put any weight on that one leg. I got hobbled up in the passenger side of my truck. Al got my wheelchair and stuck it in, and I'm still sitting there with a 357 Magnum. And Al said, well, let me go in and lock everything and turn the lights off. I said, well, look, go lock everything, but don't turn the damn lights off. No. Leave it lit up. Just leave the outside porch lights on. Just go shut the door. I said, I don't even give a dang if you lock it. Just go shut the doors, make sure everything's shut, and get back in the truck. Well, the wind, y'all, was just barely, I'm talking about a half a mile an hour, maybe, just barely enough to tell that it was moving. And the wind was coming toward my truck or toward this cabin from the exact direction of the propane tank. I'm sitting there within 30 feet or 40 feet of the propane tank. Al goes back, locks everything up, left. He did lock it. He left the lights on, come back, got in the truck. We turned around and left. Next day we come back. Al walked around out here for an hour. He walked all down this holler, all over the ridge, down toward the river. He covered probably a 3-acre area looking for that garbage bag that had that food in it. He never even found a wrapper, never found a scrap of paper, plastic, nothing. Now that night he went ahead and took the garbage and set it back in here. So it was, it was on the inside during the night. But we never found nothing of that garbage and the garbage bag and the food. So I mean, I don't know. That thing may have carried it a half a mile. It may have carried it 300 yards, or it may have carried it 10 miles. But it got a belly full of out of date bologna and hot dogs and eggs, sour cream, and just all kind of stuff. I had some potatoes that had done about halfway rotted. It was sprouted. It was just but everything in that bag was food, y'all.
They're gonna be leaving a trail somewhere.
I've got pictures on my phone where Al walked around behind that propane tank and he found impressions in the pine straw that were over 18 inches, but that was the impression because it kind of dug it down. But we'll say 18 inches or larger. And he found where it walked up out of there's an old road behind the propane tank about 30 feet. It had come out in that road and it walked down that road and it walked up right behind that propane tank. And it looked like you could see where something had been like laid down or something. All the straw right behind that propane tank was just mashed, compacted. But that thing, and look, what we finally figured was that thing was out there probably behind that propane tank when we all got in the vehicles to leave. But we never knew it was there. But
because it lay down.
Yep. So, but yeah, like I said, y'all, it's been a hell of a ride. I mean, sometimes it's like my ordeal to Bigfoot. It's been like Dewey Cox walk hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, I will say this as many times until everybody's blue in the face, but if it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't be doing this. So,
Well, dude, here's the deal, Jeff. I guess maybe you're part of why I done it. I mean, I've done it for everybody that's
and
been
that's what we
ridiculed.
do now.
That as people's been ridiculed and scared to talk to people and didn't have nobody to turn to. And I was blessed like meeting Bill White, and Bill White's the exact reason that I got hooked up with Coonbo. And man, before I met them guys, I was lost as Moody's goose dealing with this shit. And I know what it was like to have somebody to turn to and have somebody to talk to. And I've spent a big part of my life trying to help people, either law enforcement, search and rescue, rescue squad, fire department. I mean, I've been doing that a long time, and I thought, man, look at there. DA done finished.
Finish the new book.
The new book.
Buy DA's books.
Buy DA's books.
Yep.
You don't want to go to OnlyFans.
No OnlyFans for DA. Buy
Anybody that's watching this, y'all, if y'all ain't watching DA, y'all missing out on that too. Him and Robbie both. I noticed Robbie was in here earlier.
He's still here.
But yeah, guys, I mean that's the reason that I come out with it was because I got figuring out that there was probably people out there going through the same thing I was, and they was probably pretty big percentage of them folks that didn't have nobody to talk to or didn't know who to turn to. And I thought, I've done a lot of shit that what's the old saying, you can't have bravery without having fear. Because if you ain't scared of something, it don't have to be brave to get by over it, And I thought, well, I had people that wound up being there for me, so maybe I could be there for somebody else. So, but I'm proud of you, Jeff, coming out and
yeah.
I ain't gonna say you come out of the closet or nothing.
I was getting ready to say that, but
Bigfoot closet
party. They had a coming out party, but it was just for Bigfoot.
But I am, bro. You guys are responsible for me meeting Jerry. So if it hadn't been for that, we wouldn't be doing this. And
me and Misty and Spencer and especially Roger too, we talked about it talked about it yesterday. I can get absolutely emotional about just because I get to looking at the way things in my life have panned out over the last, say 10 years, like with Coonbo, and then, 3 or 4 years ago with Spencer and Misty and Mark Noble and Larry Porch, and, got drug into a group of people that I watched grow and flourish. And it's absolutely like some of the finest group of people I've ever been around in my life.
I agree. I agree.
I agree.
And it's just, and it's not, you tell people, I've got friends, but I swear to you, it's more like family. I mean, it just, where else can you go to a group camp out where there's 120, 150 people, and you feel like you're at a it's like a family reunion. It's like everybody is so comfortable and just so awesome. And it's just like everybody there, you've known them your whole life. Oh, it's just absolutely, it's been a blessing to me. I mean, it's absolutely wild how everything's played out. And I really do. I mean, I believe that a lot of us have been brought together for a reason. That's just like River down there. I mean, man, Brother River, he's stuck down there by his damn self. At least we get to see him and talk. But like River, y'all, I mean, how many times has River told us, he don't have nobody to talk to. He don't have nobody to lean on.
And that's a shame.
Here, we don't have a whole lot, and it's like I talk to you guys more than I talk to anybody around here, and it's just, if it hadn't been for this, I'd still be lost as far as this stuff goes, and
it took.
I have you guys to thank for that, and as much as I give Spencer shit, if it hadn't been for him calling me, because I watched all this stuff for years, and I never wanted to talk about it. And after my grandfather passed last year, and I know he's still the reason that I did this, because I know the man had more than he ever wanted to talk about. And I really wish I could have pried it out of him, but that old generation, they just wouldn't talk about it.
How cool would it have been if he had lived long enough to have met and talked with all these folks that you know?
Oh,
now?
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep, look at Robbie. Man, yeah, I got to send my brother some messages here and there just to put a laugh on their face, or a smile on their face and a laugh on them.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, how cool is it, like meeting DA and Robbie and just, being able to meet all
Thanks, Pat.
from everywhere.
Pat's another great one right there. That is.
Right. Yep. I mean, y'all, it's just absolutely wild. And that's, we talked about like with Woodwalkers. Everybody that does a podcast, they get caught up in everybody wants subscribers. Well, we can't wait to hit 250, or we can't wait to hit 500. And then they're shooting for 1,000. Then it's 2,000, and everybody wants to see those numbers grow.
Yeah.
But what me and Spencer and Misty and Roger have talked about, I'm kind of glad that our show didn't just explode and just go absolutely viral, because what I looked at, y'all, it wasn't quantity, it was quality.
Right.
And I'll take quality over quantity all day long.
Yep.
And look, I wouldn't, if we don't gain 10 new members a year, I'm cool with that. I mean, we keep what we got because we know what we got, and the people's awesome. I mean, you couldn't ask. Now, like DA's got a lot more than what we got, but DA overwhelmingly, man, he's got great people.
I mean, even DA thanks me. What he's like, thanks for coming into the chat, brother. And I'm like, hey, that's what I'm here for. And it's just, you know, and DA's books, I will say this about DA. DA's books, you know, when I got divorced from my first wife, I've got a great girlfriend now. I mean, everything in my life now is awesome.
Yeah.
But, you know, he helped, you know, reading his stuff really helped me through a dark time. And it's, you know, if it hadn't been for people like him and you and the rest of them, it's just, I wouldn't be in this boat that I'm in now.
Man, I get so tickled. That's just like, you know, you see Roxanne in chat. You know,
Thanks,
man,
DA.
man, if DA's got something, Roxanne's gonna be there. You know, Twisted, she's hanging in there like a rusty fish
Yeah.
hook. And you know, there's just so many of that bunch. Lene,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even name them all. And there's so many. White, look at White hanging there. He's like White Estes. He's like a rusty treble hook, buddy.
We're gonna get Wyatt on. I've already talked to Wyatt about that because
Yeah. But I mean, guys, it's unreal at these people that is just they're just great people. I mean, they just really
Absolutely.
are. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, look, Chad I mean, what was the chances of me and Roger running up on y'all and way up there in Tennessee? And all right, let me ask you.
Are you coming back up in August?
No, I said. I mean, what was me and Roger meeting y'all up there, and you know, and just y'all meet me and Roger, how much it changed everything for y'all?
Absolutely, everything.
But
it was awesome.
But if I could go back in time to that day and do it over, do you think that there's any kind of a phrase, words, anything that I could have done to have made you believe that you would have been being introduced into this quality of people and that y'all would have been welcomed in and that things would be like they are right now? If I told you that 6 months ago, you would have thought I was crazy, wouldn't you?
Probably, but the conversations we had with you and Roger and you meeting you outside again and talking for another hour, I was like, I love the conversation. These are the kind of people I want to be around. And, you know, actually because you mentioned the meet and greet and her and I got out the car and she's like, would you like to go to the meet and greet? And yeah, I think from what the people we've met, these are our people. This is what we want to be around. So, you know, your personality, Roger's personality, that brought us in, and we're here. We're hooked. You know, it's like we're meeting. Like I've met Jeff, Jerry, and David now, and these are my brothers. I mean, Roger, you, Spencer, Misty, Phyllis. Oh my God, it's amazing. And I want to meet
a growing list.
Yes, and I want to meet so many people in chat that I've probably seen at the meet and greet, but I didn't know at the time. So it's you know, they're conversing. I get comments on my Facebook posts that have nothing to do with woodwalkers from these people in our chats, and that to me is amazing. You know, it's
I want to just throw this out there, and this is something that me and Misty, me and Spencer, Roger, all of us have talked about. What boggles my mind is, like, you know, a lot of the people that has met us now in person, it was like, you know, to start with, when we kind of met them in person, it was like it was kind of awkward because they were making it out like, you know, we were like damn rich and famous, or, you know, just like they were just starstruck to meet us. And I hate to tell them, hell, I was starstruck to meet them. You know, hell, I was just as excited as they was. I was as excited to meet them as they was to meet us. And, you know, that's what we try to tell people. It's like, look, we just
David.
Everyday regular folks that's got something in common with all these people, and we just enjoy doing what we're doing.
I'm going to just say this. and you guys don't know this, I played minor league hockey for a couple years, and I was a
Really?
hometown boy for the team I played with, and people would be like that. People would be like all up on you like you were somebody, and it's like I'm nobody, but thank you. And I made a lot of friends that way, and that was a big deal to me. It was like, I am a nobody. Why are you acting like I'm somebody? I'm just like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That, I mean, I do, man. It just absolutely warms my soul. I mean, the meet and greets,
Same.
anybody that ain't never been to one, that you're missing out. That's all I can say.
Absolutely.
It's great. Don't get me wrong. I love chat. I love people in chat. The sad part about chat is I hadn't got to shake their hand, hug their neck, talk to them, sit down face to face, eye to eye. That's the icing on the cake for me, is to sit down with
Absolutely.
these people, and the people that has made contact with us and said, hey, I want to tell my story because, I see what y'all got, I see what y'all are doing, and y'all do have a safe space. Y'all got a place to talk. Y'all got, the people are so nice, and y'all it's almost like it's almost like a lighthouse where they can see, hey, there's some safety. Look here.
I mean, as long as we can, do that for people, that's all we care about.
Yep.
Mhm.
Come here and be
Yep.
comfortable. Don't worry, you're not going to get picked at.
No, that's our show, y'all. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's in the chat, on the show. It don't matter if it's on the Facebook page. There's absolutely no place for ridicule, name
Right.
calling, nothing.
Spencer's a little harsh sometimes, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's just Spencer.
Just
Sometimes he turns into the turbo attack possum.
I'm gonna break out my shirt again.
Yeah. Well, guys, I hate like that I've took up like 95% of the show tonight.
that's
Well,
why
that's
you're
what
here.
we were here for.
Hey,
Why you're here.
thanks, Greg.
And
we were like, what are we going to talk about tonight? And Jeff said, well, Greg's coming on. I'm like, well, we're done. We're good. We're good.
Didn't even cover any of the super scary oh shit moments. But yeah,
Well,
we won't.
I'll be honest.
Talk about the moment that was the story that propelled me into talking about my stuff.
Oh my lord!
Which is the same exact thing that I pretty much heard that night, and it's
yep.
Still,
yeah.
All I'm gonna say is you got Al is probably one of the most badass friends you've ever had. I say that much.
But I mean, I've done the same thing for him and would do it again. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
You can't. That's when.
When somebody knows that something like that's happening, and they're coming.
Yeah.
You can't.
I mean, that's what Al said. He said, hell, I knew if it was going to get you, it's going to have to get me too. And that's just the way you have to do it. If you look, if I can't trust you to go in the woods, I'm not going in the woods with you.
Well, I can tell you one thing: if that ever happened while I was with you, you wouldn't have to worry about me backing you up, because I ain't turning around going anywhere. That's for damn sure.
I'm too fat and broke down to run.
Exactly.
Hell,
same here. I'm too fat to be running away from anything.
Yeah, I've got to stand my ground, brother. Yeah, I ain't got no choice. I wasn't built for speed.
No.
You're not going to outrun one.
We're not built for speed.
No, you're not going to outrun them. No way.
No.
Let's put this: if it wants to shred you and you run, all you're gonna do is die tired.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah,
that's why you take a friend.
That's why you take a friend empty cartridges that I would trying to run away.
Well, that's why you take a friend. Always have a friend with you in the woods.
Yeah.
And then if something happens, you knock them over, trip them, or whatever.
Y'all, look, I hadn't even been able to keep up with Chad. I was trying to focus on what I was
I
talking
was
about.
trying to,
Oh,
but I can't keep up with this.
it's
But let me just tell you something. Right there is another person that's got a special place in my heart, and that's Miss Mary Fabian. Now look, that
Yes.
lady right there
God.
is saying a lot. She knows a lot, and probably one of the most knowledgeable researchers that I can think of. Mary's saying she's witnessed a whole bunch, y'all, and I'll just tell you, when Mary tells you, it's just like Peter wrote it on the rock. You can take it to the bank and bring home change. Mary's, I'm so envious of the Facebook group and just the whole group that Mary's created up there where she's at.
Yeah, we hope to get up there to Miss Show meet. What's that? April, I believe.
Even if
Hopefully
I'm
we
only
get
there for a night or so, I'm gonna try to get up
Yep.
for at least a day. And
Well, look, Jeff, I promise
it's only an hour.
y'all will not regret going and hanging out with Mary. I'll promise you. She is a sweetheart.
Yep, I plan to go. I got an event that weekend, but it's a 3-day deal, so I'm going to try to sneak out there one of the
Yeah.
days I'm not busy. So that's only
But man,
2 hours. So
yeah, they do such a good job with that Pennsylvania
Yeah,
Bigfoot
yeah,
project deal.
yeah.
They do, man. They
And then
really do.
Levon that's in here, she was part of Mary's, and now she's doing her own thing. But she's only like an hour from us.
yeah, she's pretty.
So,
She's not far. Yep.
and she was on the show the other week, and that I tell you, we have just we're
Lord,
getting some good ones.
all right, Catherine. I don't know what I said. I'm liable to said anything, but whatever it was, she said she's going to use that. Catherine,
See ya,
you
DA.
got to come on Night Owls with us. You got to. You're going to have to just bite the bullet.
Hey, I'll come on Night Owls. You just got to make sure you
Yeah.
give me. You make sure I take a nap before.
Right. I was going to say you're going to need a nap beforehand.
Hey, you want to know something though? The other night, we did our show, and I stayed up with him and Pat Noble until I passed out at like 1:30 in the morning with a cigar lit. And
But you took multiple naps
Yes,
before.
yes.
Jeff is sitting there just like he is right now. He's got one of the big old cigars poked out, one of them Spencer Jamesons.
Yeah,
And
it was Spencer's fault.
And he's like talking, and he's going blah blah blah.
Exactly.
And I'm looking out on the screen. I'm looking at Jeff, and Pat's going, Jeff. Hey Jeff. I'm going, Jeffrey, wake up.
I see missed phone calls from Pat and Greg the next morning. I'm like, shit.
The only person I've ever seen go out that fast was John F. Kennedy in that damn Cadillac.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
It's just like blah blah blah.
Actually, it was Greg. It was blah blah blah.
We've seen it multiple times.
Hey, look, me and Pat stayed for another hour and 15 minutes. I know for at least 20 minutes, every now and then you'd see a little smoke come off a cigar. And I'm telling Pat, I'm like, well, I've got Jeff's address, so I don't really know how to call 911 all the way up there in Maryland and say, hey, my buddy's, he's asleep and his house is on fire, and I'm watching it burn down around him, and he won't wake his ass up. Please send the fire department to his house.
I'm
Live action.
Seen the glow from here, so
Don't worry, my kid would have came in at some point and put the fire out. It would have been.
Oh man.
But there was a couple of times. Now, I don't know, Jeff, I don't know how your neck wasn't just like in a brace the next day because it looked like your neck was broke. Cigar looked like a smoldering dog turd. And he just, and then here in a minute, and he we watched him though. We was pretty much 99% sure the cigar had went out. And me and Pat's like, man, I'm going to bed. So we hung up.
It would have been fine unless it caught my chair on fire. Then that might have been a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just his chair.
It would woke me
Uh,
up.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if you've got like a buddy. I don't know if you've got like a haint or a spook that comes through your house and like hits you in the head or something. Mm. Oh man.
It's been a good
So
night.
Yeah.
maybe so. Well, I don't know, and y'all, I don't know if Misty. I don't know when we're gonna do another Night Owls. I know we're doing a Walker Sunday. Like I said, it'll be Chuck Slabs will be on. So y'all
That's
come
gonna be
hang out.
awesome because Chuck hasn't done anything in a while, has he?
Oh my God, River, I ain't got time to go into the deaf lady pawning her
No.
hearing aids. It takes me
No.
about an hour to do that. But that is, honest to God, the funniest shit I've ever seen.
We'll have to get Jerry
I'll do that.
on one night to tell Jerry that story live because that's
Yep.
a good one.
Honest to God, if I'd had a body cam that night, I would absolutely broke. I would have broke the internet. I'm talking about broke the. That's a damn. Of all the funny shit that I've witnessed and have told people about, that honest to God, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I'm not kidding y'all. That's when I realized that I've been married 28 years, but I realized damn quick I'd married the wrong woman. I did not search high nor low enough. That old gal, that was just her boyfriend.
Ponder
And I,
hearing aids for a case of beer.
yeah, and look, my wife, not one time in the 30 years that we've been together have I ever thought that my wife was dedicated enough to me to give up one of her senses. Here, no, I don't need to hear. Yeah, he needs a case of beer. I'm gonna pawn my hearing aids at the pawn shop to get the money to get you a case of beer. She just ain't got that in her. Don't have that. Nope, ain't happening. So yeah, I realized then that that wasn't my soulmate because
Yeah.
that gal, she was a rough old gal, but by God, she was dedicated to that old boy.
Well, hang backstage, Greg. We're gonna shut her down.
All right.
Well, we appreciate
We are?
everybody coming on tonight.
We
I guess we
are.
I'm
are.
the one
I
that's
don't
got to
know.
get up early.
I
Oh, you do
was
too.
gonna say I'm the one that's gotta get up at 4:00.
I got to get up
Oh,
at
my
5. So.
I gotta say, Misty just sent me a message. I don't know what she's doing.
Who the hell knows what she's doing? Is she in chat tonight? I didn't see her.
Nope.
I don't. She's probably down doing something. I ain't no telling.
Well, Roger went live randomly, so I don't know what's going on over there.
He was doing driving around or something.
Well, she just sent me a damn message. Says she's fixing to cut her hair.
Oh Lord.
Dang.
Thanks, Wendell. Thanks for being here, buddy. You too, Mogs. Wyatt,
Man,
David,
Yeah.
Blaylock.
everybody say
Very
hey
well.
to Mogs, Wendell. Everybody loves them. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
look,
Absolutely.
everybody.
Thanks for coming out, everybody.
Yeah,
Chat's
yeah.
still
Mogs.
busy, but it's
Hey,
something about it.
look, I wonder if he got enough snow all the way down there where he's at in Florida to make him a snowman. He may have made a
Yeah.
snow gator.
Never
Right, man.
seen Snow Gator.
I pine yacht, yo.
Yeah.
Pie Knot just showed up. Oh Lord.
Yoder running behind.
Yeah, did you see his
But-
comment? That's great.
You gotta watch. You know them Yoders take a while to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Well, big love, everybody, and we'll catch y'all
Absolutely.
for long.
Thank you, sir. Yep.
Yes.
Thank you, Greg.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you,
Always a
Greg.
pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Greg.
With that said,
Enjoy
I
it.
guess we'll be back Tuesday with the regular
Yep.
OLC.
Lion Cryptids. So
Yep. We
and
got
check
a
out
good
Sunday.
guest.
Check out Sunday's show with Spencer and Greg
Woodwalkers.
House and
Yep.
Misty on Woodwalkers for sure. Yep.
We got a good one for Tuesday, and then I'm gonna work on lining up some other stuff. Flat Rock's coming on. I got to figure that out.
We got several coming on. Harley's coming back on in the next couple of weeks. We're going to
Yeah.
get Harley on,
And then Steve and Shelly Stetzer,
yeah, we got plenty lined up. So
more local area people coming. And
go ahead, Greg.
Let me throw one more thing out. No, look, hey, anybody that didn't see it, if y'all ain't subscribed or hadn't ever watched the decaffeinated cryptids,
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Dizzle, yep.
Bobby Dizzle, get over there. Look, y'all go look him up, check it out, because he done a thing the other day. He done a live from that conference down there where Flat Rock spoke. So y'all go check that out. Go check it out. It was really awesome him doing that and doing it live. But I mean, you go on YouTube and watch it right now and see who they had at the conference. And
and they had Flat Rock stuff on there too.
Flat Rock. Oh yeah. That was awesome.
That eye shine on Flat Rock's video brought the chili bumps on me like right now. Identical.
Well, I got some stuff to send you. The Flat Rock sent me. I haven't looked at it yet, Greg. But sorry, Jerry.
That's Jerry.
Many people on the.
I was done. It's okay.
No, I meant to say Jerry because Flat Rock sent us some stuff for when we do the show. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yes, carry on. I was going to say earlier when you were talking about getting your story out, I sat on mine since I was a youth, didn't know. And I talked to Kerry Arnold, and he's like, man, you got to get on. We'll talk about it, And I put it off. I just didn't want to go public, And, of course, we lost Kerry, unfortunately. And then I talked to Spencer a year before I actually went on the show with him and Greg that day. And it took me a year because I fell, got injured. I didn't break my leg, but I got damn near close to it. But so it took a while. And I talked to him, and he said something about there's a guy coming on. It's up near you or something. I said, okay, I'll check it out. I was out of town filming. And sure enough, I said, well, heck, I know where he lives, kind of, sort of, And then I reached out to him, and I told Spencer, all right, I'll come on.
Yeah, because I
know it was time to talk, get it off my chest. But
I grew up with all your cousins.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's weird. It's a small world. I mean, I had a cousin that lived in a tenant house there on the farm. Had milked cows there for many, many, many years. Farmed there for many years. It's crazy. But anyway, you're still short, Jeff.
Funny how it all. Yeah, I know. Funny how it all comes together.
That's all good.
Jerry still hadn't said anything about me being shorter than him.
Hey, he's not short. He's vertically challenged.
Vertically challenged. That's right. Yep. He's a good shit.
I can still whoop his ass.
Okay. I'll be over. Come on.
Hey. He starts beating on your kneecaps, you'll think twice about it.
He hits that right kneecap, and one shot's going to put me down. So go on. I'll just lift him up.
I'm talking about Spencer. I ain't talking about you.
Spencer, I'll be down his neck of the woods here in next month. So
really,
for about three or 4 days. Yeah.
And before we go, Chad and Erica are going to be in our area around Memorial Day. So
come on up.
Yep.
Mark Green's coming too.
And Mark and Rebecca are going to be down around October,
or maybe sooner. He wasn't sure. Bigfoot Bud, we gotta get Bigfoot Bud. We gotta get Bud and Angie.
Bud and Angie,
we got Bud and Angie.
We'll get their schedule up too. Yeah.
I've got a lot of people to schedule.
There you go, Bigfoot Bud. Get ready.
Man, you can't beat Bud and Angie.
Yeah.
Nope.
We gotta get Reinhardt on too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Bama's listed on the list.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I tried to hurry up and type that in on his show the other night, but it went off before I could hit the end to go.
And Jerry
Reinhardt. Yes.
Elaine sent me the contact information for Mark Ospenick, the one that did the the Bigfoot Digest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get him.
Yeah, they're getting ready to re-release that book, right?
And that's gonna be awesome if we can get the guy that wrote the book on that for Maryland. So
Yeah.
that'll be
Yeah.
some another part of our Maryland stuff that we've been wanting. So
My ultimate goal is to get that Tal Bronco book. I want the book. I don't want the digital file. I want the real thing. I'll find one day.
have you ever found a non-digital file on that, Greg?
Jeff, the only copy I've got, and like an idiot, I didn't get more copies because I wish I'd got some so my kids could have had some. I wish I'd bought 50 copies. The only copy I got is the one that Bill gave me himself, and he autographed the inside cover, and he wrote out a little paragraph to special thanks to Greg and Jimmy House, which was me and my daddy, for our personal contribution to his book. And that's the only copy I've got. And
Hang on
that
to her.
book that book is in a 6,000-pound gun safe.
I'm sure it is.
It's good.
Yeah,
Is that one of your 6,000-pound safes here or at your house?
It's at my house. I can't
Yeah.
put it here. It has to be on concrete. It'd go through the floor and any kind of wood floor.
Yeah.
That safe, 5 foot wide, 7 foot tall, 3 foot deep, and
Wow.
weighed. I think it's 5,300 pounds empty.
Is that one of them? Is that a Liberty?
No, it's made by Diebold, the bank vault company.
Wow. Yeah.
Mhm. I helped
Yeah,
move a gun safe one time. It is not an easy chore.
We've
Yeah,
got a few, but they're not that big.
This one weighs nearly exactly what my 1,500 four-door Dodge Ram pickup weighs. That's what
Yeah.
weighs.
Yep. Yeah, they're a tank.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, there's no 6 hours tonight, brother. I gotta get
I
up.
don't have any of that big. I'll tell you, we're going to, don't worry. We get all the right people together, and we'd probably have to get the man himself. We'd have to get
Yeah.
for one of those.
I thought about the 100th episode for Old Line Cryptids to get him and Greg and
Roger.
turn Roger.
Roger.
Turn them loose. Just turn them loose.
And I'm gonna brew like 4 pots of coffee for.
Well, we could try to start a little earlier, but it don't. That'd be cool.
That'll be the magic. That'll be the magic episode.
Yeah. Well, Cindy said, "Why wait for 100? Do 50." She said, "Shit can happen in life." So,
I mean,
Just to catch,
we could do 50.
just to catch everybody up to speed, 2 days ago, Coonbo had to go have I guess it was an arteriogram, and they thought he had some heart blockage or artery blockage. He everything went great. He done procedure fine. They didn't find anything that needed stents, and they wound up said that what little bit of blockage he had, they was going to treat with medication and sent his ass back home.
Good.
That's all.
Nice.
That's
Awesome.
good to hear.
Awesome.
Good
He's
to hear.
good.
Got to get a book wrote. He's got to get a book.
He's got to. Yes.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, when I figure out when I'm coming down there, we can go see him.
Oh, we will. Oh, you get your damn vertically challenged ass down here. We will go to the farm.
Yeah, it's definitely on my bucket list to get down there for sure. I've been close, just not quite across the border yet. But
I feel like I'm gonna have to spend at least a week there because
Yeah.
I
You
gotta-
have to.
I gotta go to Mark's.
Yeah.
I gotta go to see Greg and Coonbo, and I gotta go to Flat Rocks. I cannot.
Well, Jeff, we could probably make all that happen. If you come and stay with me a week, we'll go to all of them because from here to Coonbo's, if I got in my truck right now in exactly 1 hour, we'd be sitting in his yard. From here to Martin Rebecca's, if traffic's okay through Birmingham, it's nearly spot on 2 hours to pull up at his house. And it'll take us about 3 hours and 45 minutes or 4 hours to go to Flat Rocks. So,
There
I
you
mean,
go.
yeah, that's about
And I
right.
could, hey Jerry, I could do we time this right, I could do a show from one of those locations.
Yeah.
works.
Just stay awake, Jeff. Just stay awake.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome? I could do a we could do a live from Kumbo's if we get the service.
Oh yeah, they suck.
I'll take the RV down. We'll have all the power. You can have internet, everything.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I've
Okay.
enjoyed.
Hey, thanks, Greg.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Greg.
Love you, brother. Thank
We'll
you
see
for all this.
backstage.
We'll see everybody Tuesday night. Who you got, Jeff?
Al Santiago, the Squatch Father.
Squatch Father will be here Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to be here.
I tell you, that is a great dude to talk to.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right. See ya.
Yeah.